talked about the two areas where technology has had the most impact. There's operational excellence. There's no doubt about that. The operational excellence, there's no doubt about that. I can give you an example. I started my career as a marketing person at Lever Brothers, as I said. And I know what the agency environment was like those days. Lintas was our agency at the time. Look at the number of headcounts. Look at the number of people. You go into the media department, they are busy. Aren't they busy? See the reams of media plans, media schedules, all in longhand. See the number of calculators that they are using to compute the value of the campaign and all of that. Apply the discount schedule. And after working for 3 days, they present it and there's still error. They have to go back and recalculate. Today, I happen to be involved with agencies that bill over 20 billion naira. And I look at the media department, and I can't believe it. I look at the finance department, I can't believe it. Where are all the invoices? Where is all those transactions that used to take forever? It's all automated. It's all, in fact, what I say to them is, now, just make sure that you do your posting accurately, correctly. At the end of it, you don't go home. It's almost like the bank. You don't go home unless you posted all your entries. Because you post it into Excel, Sage. Sage Evolution, however big your volume is, you will just blink for a few seconds and generate a P&L for you, a media schedule. Whatever it is that you want done is done in the speed of light. It's just phenomenal stuff. So I said to people, the operational excellence is obvious. I mean, you can see less people, less time, cheaper, faster in geometric proportions, way beyond what you could have imagined was technically feasible. The computer enables it. But I think the point is also clear, Mike. It's not just operational excellence. Technology has created new industries by itself. Forget about the application itself. It's created new industries. But that's not even the one that I like. I like the way you see disruption. The ability to encourage you to think outside of the box. I'm now hearing all sorts of technological innovations that put the world upside down. They force you to think the other way backwards. And I'm liking it, even at this age. I'm liking it. Because I'm saying to myself, those are the various ways in which we can play to it. As good marketing people, we should love change. Because change causes flux. And the flux gives the opportunity for us to rearrange ourselves in the market. I have seen brands that were market leaders that became number 4. I've had brands that were number 5 that became number 1. All of those things would not have been possible but for change in consumer behavior, change in consumer. So all of those things are things that we as marketing people. So I guess my payoff lines to you all is to say, whatever the change that is coming, and we've already seen so much of it, don't be intimidated. As marketing people, love it. Because change is what we do. We play to advantage. We say to ourselves, with this new wave of change coming, can we ride the crest of change and be the first to arrive in time, well before others? And if you do it and do it well, you'll be surprised how much further you can go with technology. I thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking us down your own experience with technology. You gave us different generation of technology and how you were able to, adapt to new technologies. And that brings to mind that as we begin to see a revolution in technology, we're beginning to see different generations of technology. And he said something about change, that as professionals, we should love the change, embrace the change. Because, of course, we'll have these disruptions coming in every now and then. Thank you so much, sir, for your time, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so I would like to acknowledge the presence of the President of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, Mr. Idoriang Enang, represented by Mrs. Adenike Olufade. You're welcome, ma'am. And we also have one of the speakers, Franklin Ozekome, CEO and Head of Features, Adeniti Shore, Africa. I don't know if I got that right, sorry. So right now, I would welcome the coordinator for the panel session, Mr. Ozone Ubanefo. So Mr. Ozone Ubanefo, popularly known as Ozone, is the provost and founder of the Nigerian's foremost art school of brands and marketing communications, OSU, I beg your pardon, Oxygen Academy, otherwise known as O2 Academy. Ozone, who started his marketing communications career 21 years ago in the advertising industry, has harnessed his core values to achieve corporate goals. His experience spans over a decade with leading advertising powerhouse like LTC, JWT, Inside Communications, now Inside Publicis, DDB Lagos, TBWA Concept, just to mention a few. This cerebral professional has worked on local and multinational brands like Fanta, Limca, Gold Post, Everwater, Wema Bank, Close Up, Loss, Lipton, NB, PLC Corporate, and so much more. You're welcome, sir. So Mr. Ozone Ubanefo will be the coordinator for the panel session of the summit. Over to you, sir. Okay, have your mic.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I was about to say good afternoon, but it's still very much of a morning. Today is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Somebody is not clapping here. You know, I always say this, and I mean it. If you are not clapping, you will not graduate. I'm only kidding, because I have my veterans here that I'm supposed to clap for. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be starting off with the panelists. But before we proceed, I will have to read the citation of one of the veterans in the industry, and that is that of Emeka Okeke. Emeka Chris Okeke is the founder, managing partner, and group chief executive officer of Media Fuse Denso International, Nigeria, and director of Denso, Ghana. Emeka is responsible for the development of Denso global and local service brands in Nigeria, with 30 years experience spanning across the print media, full service, creative and media agencies, notably in Nigeria and Ghana. Emeka has successfully led Media Fuse Denso International network of agencies in Nigeria into winning numerous awards and recognitions since inception, cutting across different service categories, and has at the same time earned notable recognitions and professional awards for himself from different organizations in and outside of Nigeria. These includes Media Entrepreneur of the Year 2014, Outstanding Leadership in Advertising 2017, Outstanding Media Advertising Leadership Awards 2018, Advertising Professional of the Year 2018, Lifetime Award Winner 2021, Innovative Marketing Communications Network of the Year 2021, and recently an inductee, Media Pacesetter Hall of Fame, among several others. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome Emeka Okeke. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ozone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and standing on Mr. Jai's mooted protocol. I'd like to say that this is a privilege to be among you to speak on this topic this afternoon. I am not a veteran like Mr. Top, so I need to defer to him sufficiently and robustly, but I have one advantage that I don't know how my generation of practitioners don't flaunt it. And that is to say that I call my generation the bridge generation. That's the generation that saw the tale of less digital practice in advertising, marketing, communications, yet the generation that launched the digital phase and had handed it over to the Gen Zs to do what they want to do. So on that note, I'd like to start this presentation by sharing with you what I consider as conversation starters. Where's the machine? So I know where to point the clicker. Where's the machine? Okay, John, where's the machine? So I know where to point the clinker so the slides can move. It's not going. This way. I hope somebody doesn't arrest me for pointing gun. It's moved. Okay, so as a conversation starter, I'd like to say a few things. And lastly, set the tone. I won't take so much of your time because I probably and mostly will not be telling you anything you haven't heard before. But I will narrow this presentation down to how this phase of evolution has been impacting marketing and marketing communications. And then with a note of caution that as we savour this and soak it in, we should be mindful of booby traps and things that we are losing to humanity. We're losing humanity in essence. And so technology affects our lives. Our focus will be on what has been happening in this space and how it has been impacting our practice. We know that it has become a key factor. Marketing has become, if nothing else, technology has made marketing a key factor in the larger business ecosystem. And therefore, it is blurring the lines of marketing communications, sales, and business operations. Do that for free. And again, we will be reviewing the core benefits, the challenges, and the future of technology marketing. What is going to come after what we have today? Therefore, to set the tone, I make bold to say that technology adoption is no longer a survival imperative, but a future-proofing mandate for businesses. Ignore technology, ignore survival. Brand yourself the dinosaur. That's the point I'm trying to make here. And if I have to go straight into what this evolution means for marketing and marketing communications, I will take the key points. A whole day will not be enough to discuss this subject, but I'd like to keep it short and bring it to the level of our practice and how consciously and unconsciously we may not be mindful of what has been happening. And therefore, if we look at a critical part of marketing and marketing communications, we're coming from an audience segmentation and targeting point of view. Technology has moved us from basic sample surveys that give generic broad insights, universe representation that is ignorant of motivations, trends, and tendencies in the marketplace. To what? We are seeing a combination of static, dynamic, and passive data across multiple touch points for valuable insights and prediction models. It's not as if we haven't had data in the past. We've had data, but simply the sheer trove of data we have today from different, all over the place, makes it imperative that we must adopt and deploy technology to get a sense of what is going on around us. To this extent, we have a combination of basic name and addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, now overlaid with cookie and device ID and personal ID. And what does that do for us? What it does for us is that it enables us to generate today, which the other part would not generate for you, is digital profiles of people we are targeting. It creates for us reactions. We track reactions in the ways of likes, dislikes, angry, through the use of technology designs like emojis. Again, we're able to go through search queries and know who is seeking us, looking for us, and what the people are saying, no thanks to technology. We now have browsing sessions for our products. On top of that, I wish I could move these seats away. You can now generate heat maps for your brands, meaning what people are talking about your brands. There's no way you will get that from a sample survey. You can't get this robust insight from sample survey. And to cap it all, you can track from what people are saying to how people are transacting. If you know the amount of information that your pay cards hold about you, even when you tell Madam you've gone for a conference, if Madam could have access to your MasterCard or Visa card or to your this and know what you have done with that card while you were away on a conference, I bet you 99% of homes will be broken today. No thanks to technology. If we look at media measurement and evaluation, technology has moved us from delayed reporting per channel, compliance checks with media plans and shadows, basic, just basic. Delayed campaign reports, 30 days. Delayed proof of flight reports. Reporting is based on approximations. All right, cool. Meaning, if we run 20 spots on this station, it may well be that compliance is 100%, rule of the thumb. What has technology done in this regard? Today, we have near real-time tracking across multi-channel platforms. Look at Google Campaigner. You can use to do digital ad tracking and measurement. You look at Campaign Monitor. You measure direct marketing. You look at VideoMan. TVC spot tracking with image recognition is now available even in our markets as we speak. And therefore, we have image recognition, we have near real-time reports, we have instant proof of execution, and we have report that is based on discrete data. That's technology for you. To brand activation, what has technology done? From live events with limited coverage area, ad slots are limited and highly regulated. From human effigies on the streets, what do we see today in brand activation? You have augmented reality, you have virtual reality, you have metaverse, to the point that today we have hybrid events and activation and experiences, which combines the physical with the virtual realities. So brand experiences that you do today on the street, that you don't have a layer of technology, my brother, you're as good as a dinosaur tomorrow. Unless you're saying during political campaigns where you need to move from local government to local government and village to village. After that, what happens until the next 4 years? That's not done. Public relations and reputation management has been impacted by this evolution. From physical limited events, leadership workshops, insider sources, press conferences, manual transporting based on news sources. I remember in my early career, early days, we will rush out early in the morning to go to the bus stop. I used to stay with an uncle around Ojolegba. Mr. Shobanjo would tell me, if that campaign, if I get to notice that he didn't run before you, you're in trouble. And so you wake up early in the morning, run to 6 o'clock to go to free reader stand. All right? You check in the punch, you flip. You go the other one, you flip. Today, that has changed. I can't even remember the last time I bought a newspaper bunch. They buy newspaper bunch for my communications team who need to do other things. And some clients, procurement people, finance people still need the manual invoicing thing, proof of execution. And then they have to scan them through. But look at what technology has done for us. Multi-platform hybrid solutions. You have self-publishing platforms like LinkedIn. Everybody owns his own media space today. All right? And sentiment evaluation platforms are there. Foursquare reviews, Google reviews. Yep. You have social listening tools. You go to some agencies today who have migrated from general digital marketing. They have what they call the social listening walls, where you have about 10, 15 TV units, and people work shift overnight. And what do clients pay them for? Clients will simply pay them to monitor negative sentiments about them or their brands using social listening tools and respond to that negative sentiment until the person is convinced, and you get paid for every positive response you generate. That's the way it's moved today. And in that case, you don't need to bother yourself about client audits, because if it is what you tell the client, depending on the severity of the negative sentiment, to pay, that the client pays. So that's why I started by saying technology is simply a future-proofing mandate for our businesses. Continue. What about TV campaign planning? Do we still do exclusive TV schedules today? Clients are now demanding video planning across media platforms. Do we still do just a few clients waiting to run 45 seconds, 30 seconds commercials? The attention span is so short today. Nobody has time to listen to your 30 seconds or 45-second commercial. People are distracted by multiple devices and confronted with millions of messages every day. Today, I will sit and see video content produced by V8 Studios, one of our outposts, of 5 seconds run on TV commercials. Why will client not pay 1 million naira or 800,000 and get a short 5 second? Why do you want to convince a client to carry all those big machines and cameras and go to field and fly models? So technology has changed it. Whereas you're trying to produce one long TVC commercial, the biggest brand and the most robust with the biggest budget will at least change 3 times. The MTNs of this world, the Nigerian breweries, the ABIs of this world. 3 times at most. Here you go, your competitor can turn on 50 videos in a week and keep the campaign afresh. 50 videos a week or in a year. And then send different communications. This is technology for us. So, what does video planning do now? You go on Facebook. It's gone from conventional TV stations telling you what they want you to hear, to video on demand, smart TV, Netflix, TikTok. With TikTok, people do anything, any day. So stop wasting your time buying those big machines. If you want big TV reality show production, it's a different conversation. If we don't reinvent ourselves and adopt technology, we will be dinosaurs. We'll be blown out of business by these cheap app-based productions around the place. What else? Radio campaign is not left out. As opposed to doing, some radio personalities came to visit me just a few days ago in the office, precisely on Wednesday. And we were talking. And they were still telling me about sports, about sponsorship of afternoon belt and so forth, so on. One of the younger people in the house, from when I did the introduction, I introduced somebody as coming from the digital space. And the lady was asking me, short of asking me, what do I have to do with this guy here? Until the guy said, we said, clients are shifting your radio budget for radio stations to audio planning budgets. They simply follow audio planning. If your radio signals and the content you're putting out there is not maybe on YouTube, music, or Audio Mac, or podcasts, they receive commercials because people follow the content they listen to. No longer the DJs that pull them. That is why, from brand ambassadors, we've moved to what? Yeah, from brand ambassadors, we've moved to influencers all over the place. We'll come to that and what technology is doing in that space. Print technology is not left out. Print is not left out. From reporting yesterday's news, nobody cares about yesterday's news. If you push the print, all right, you read it. Why would I buy newspaper when I can look at my phone and get the news of what has happened this morning in Aso Rock? What has happened an hour ago? Exactly. What do I have to do? So, print has moved from serving instant, from reporting yesterday's news to serving instant news on demand and real-time broadcast. Reach is now borderless. But this has its own disadvantage. Are you campaigning for yourself, or are you for your brand, or are you campaigning for the industry, and so forth, so on? We will come to that. Circulation is as high as there are active internet devices. Ad slots are near infinite with limited regulation. I remember my early days in the career, we had to carry pneumatic tapes to NTA and sleep and wait to be slotted. It was the NRC campaign in one of those days. I'll be told by my bosses at the agency that, look, this campaign must fly tomorrow. You have to go and queue and wait until your campaign is slotted. I can't even see tapes. Suddenly those things disappeared. I asked my people, has the campaign broken? Oh, yeah. Even the most remote TV station or channel in the north will simply receive the material through Wi-Fi transfer, internet transfer. So technology is impacting our lives and our businesses. Direct to customer marketing via e-commerce engine. From physical marketplaces to virtual marketplaces. All right. And what has enabled this? Virtual marketplaces. Two core common engines, technology pieces, Shopify and WooCommerce. If you look at this, today, if anybody knows, if you know how much transactions go through these virtual marketplaces compared to what you think that is happening in the stores and in the open market, your mind will be blown off. So where are we in this respect? Where are we going to? Technology continues. It's impacting creative works. I need to slow down with this. All right? How is it impacting creative works? Today, clients subscribe or mandate their agencies to subscribe to authentication applications. All right? You don't want to get excited about copies. You don't want to get excited about some piece of creative and you go to town with it only to be faced with a massive lawsuit that can wipe off your P&L budget for the year. And how has technology done this? From physical and manual verification, documentation, paper-based, prone to damage through fire, floods, but storage is being addressed today to decentralize digital verification of creatives. I'm sure most of us here have heard about NFT, which guarantees royalty to creatives. Right. Today, people will put up their piece of creative work and put it on a platform that you can buy and pay and acknowledge the source. You even share with your clients and tell your client the source where you have. You have the unit check, which checks and removes plagiarism. Very recently, in our creative part of business, we've had to. Interviews are difficult to find good creative because you bring the so-called digital age group. All they do is to go and copy one good piece of creative, but they were not aware that we had this system to check the authenticity of the creative work. And so somebody's mother called me, somebody's father called me. I thought it was your company you could hire. I say, hey, here's the result. Your boy copied from this website that was published in Nicaragua some time ago, a piece of, they think they are smart. They can go anywhere and copy anything. But for technology, we probably would have hired the guy, and he would have exposed us to bigger risk with our clients because he would have copied some works that probably we put on the digital platform. Somebody somewhere around the world will pick it, and that would be big trouble for the agency. So we continue. Influencers. I made a bit of reference to this. You remember this picture, all right? From brand ambassadors that can wake up one day and port and destroy everything you have built over the years, to influencers, influencer management. Not one influencer. Today, technology has made it possible for you to plug into influencer platforms, management platforms. So no one person is bigger than the brand. But again, you leverage a group of influencers. So your reach is big, where your heading is big, your delivery is much more. No thanks to technology. Content creation. Yeah, bespoke, expensive content creation. I've made reference to this as well. To infinite supply of cheap, personalized, user-generated content. The power to create is not now only restricted to the guy who sits under the tree, puts his legs in a bucket of water to crack it. All right. Everybody, you can generate a lot more content, a lot more intrusive content by involving the people out there, the consumers, your customers. Yeah, customer-generated content are everywhere. So technology is giving us access to dynamic content generation, cheap production, via app-based production technologies, Snapchat, TikTok. Endless supply. Content is simply endless. Out of home is probably today the most impacted in our industry. From static boards, I just try to make this, keep it as simple as possible without going into too many technical details, to location marketing and dynamic digital boards. Today you can play games with boards. And I'll say something which shocks me. It shocks me today that some state governments everywhere, not one, not restricted to Lagos State, would ban competitors from advertising on their boards, as we hear in the social media. In this day and age, you can't do that. And what has technology done? I can use your board to make sure that anybody that comes through your board receives the message of your competitor on his phone. No thanks to technology. I can create heat maps and place things that anybody that sees your board, then you tell me, between being in the car to see your board and the guy who sees the board receives the message about your competition with even pictures and videos, which one will you remember more? So this is technology. So these things don't work. We're dealing with that every day, all over the state. You know, one politician tells you, oh, no, you can't advertise in my local government because it's opposition party and so forth, so on. Technology has broken these barriers. That's what they don't know. The more butts they put, the more their competitors get their messages across. We can talk about that. We have virtual graffitis, geolocation arts. I was speaking exactly about geolocation arts. Creating heat maps, tagging heat maps, taking the GPS location of the boards, and then installing Wi-Fi to the closest location, that the moment you see that board, it generates messages that that board is not the one. You have the Dentsu live poster technology on test in the market since 6 months. There are many billboards. I'll give you an example. I don't think we have time to play the videos. Oh, shit. This is live poster. What does dynamic billboard offer? It offers you the use of data or scheduling rules to optimize creative message of your campaign. If you give us, today technology makes it possible. I try not to personalize these presentations. If you give your agency today in this market, I'm not talking of what is outside, 3, 4 creatives that you want them to run one when the weather is cold and run the other one when the weather is hot. We can have a network of bots that the moment it rains, it plays up the material that you want to be exposed when it is raining. The moment it's hot, it plays up the material that you want it to go. That is the dynamic billboard, all right? And we have so many digital bots signing onto that platform for a fee today in this market and in key cities. However, the dynamic billboard will only function where you have good data. And that is why we are so happy that 5G is coming to the market. Yeah. So that's live poster for another day. I'll leave this presentation behind. If you can see the demos and what it does. So from geolocation marketing, what does it deliver? Physical billboards move to the mobile devices. That's the point I was making about trying to block competition from advertising. If I were competition, I would just go and tag your board, pick the GPS, and then code a message, overlay a message over it. Anybody, and I have mobile numbers, MS, IDSDN, anybody that sees your board, particular people, instead of receiving your board messages, would receive the message of your competition. Build a firewall around your board. Technology does a lot of things, all right? Supports near real-time dynamic promotions, increase footfall to any location, swing customers from competition. That's what it does. Technology drives increase in channel. I don't want to overflood this. Today, we've moved from conventional channels, and we have invested so much in conventional channels. The biggest problem we have today in the industry is that we don't retrain ourselves, you know, to play to that technology space. Okay? You can imagine somebody comes around to tell you that he wants to be a media buyer or he wants to be a TV planner. What is TV planning? What are you going to be planning? You're waiting for me to give you 45 seconds and 60-second commercials. When the client is asking me that the cost of producing that commercials have gone out of control, he wants you to do a video plan for him. He wants you to do an audio plan so he doesn't lose out on the young people on Audio Mac, on YouTube Music, on Spotify Music, and so forth, so on. So how do you address that? What kind of training do you need to connect yourself to that? How do you retrain ourselves to get into that technology space? Caution, however, we can go on and on and on to all aspects of our business. But I have a note of caution for us. While adopting technology, respect data privacy policies. Data privacy is a big issue for us with technology, right? It's currently the most important policy that marketers must consider. Use of personally identifiable information, PII, without originator's consent can wipe out entire businesses when discovered. We know the Cambridge Analytica issue is still live. But how do we do it like this? I decided to pull out the global privacy policy map. What this map says is that for every jurisdiction, there is a policy. Now the issue becomes, when they serve ads digitally out of India or China, targeting the Nigerian market, do they respect the Nigeria data privacy? When we serve ads from a regional point of view, because we work for some clients across West Africa into East Africa, and some people from South Africa will serve communication materials into our markets and so forth, so on. Do they respect the data privacy laws? Do we have enough data privacy infrastructure to track and ensure that people respect? If we go zero into Nigeria, we have the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation, which was launched in 2019, April to be specific. How many of us who have digital agencies or work with digital agencies or create digital materials have read this? How many of us have gone to European GDPR and see what it contains? How are the materials we are bringing in from there? Well, that's another discussion for APCON and the regulators to deal with. So, bottom line is that technology comes with a lot of privacy issues that we must respect. Now, the big one, death of third-party cookies still looms. From July 2023, we will enter a world without third-party cookies. Aside from Google, that have moved a bit again, because everybody, there's palpable tension in the air about lack of third-party cookies and what we want to do with it. All right? There's a seismic shift that will have far-reaching implications for marketing. All right? Technology enables with ad blocking, Firefox, Google, iOS, and then there is legislation on the other side. So, phase out third-party cookies. Where will marketing be? That's the question. So what it throws up for us, again, is identity crisis. How do we manage identity crisis? I don't know how many of us have seen the social media picture of lying in states of Queen Elizabeth with some white men with cattle, as if they were going for, not cattle, ram, as if they were going, goats, they were going for sacrifice. That is fake, we know, because it was cropped and pasted there. So be careful with what you consume. And there's another one that is even more damning, and it's the distinction between reality and what is fake. Look at these two pictures. If you go to the Instagram post handle of this influencer, the original one, you will see that the influencer was simply sitting on a green couch. But if you go to Facebook and other places that people have used the same influencer, either for advertising, what do you see? You see the influencer sitting in a luxury first class lounge or luxury first class section of an aircraft. So it's becoming more difficult to separate what is real from what is fake. Look at this. Another one has emerged that we call the deep fake. You know the deep fake? The deep fake is such that you would need a different kind of technology to establish that it is deep fake. You know what deep fake does? It is possible to re-render an original video of individuals in a different way, making it seem like words were spoken or acts were performed, which never happened. If I had time to play these videos, you will be shocked what Obama said in the real video and what Obama said in the deep fake. You will need technology to know that that is real deep fake. So we have to be careful with deep fake because you can get sued and sued. All your finances will be wiped off completely. So we have to be careful, especially this political season. We have to be careful with deep fake. Certain things they say certain people are or certain people have said, they actually didn't say that. Machines are in this country that people will first lip sync you, pick your voice, impose it on another material, and it is you talking. It's even easy. You can catch somebody when you take somebody's head and take a black head and put on a white body. You know, that's stupid. Okay, but with this, a lot of people are going to get into trouble with deep fake. Thank you to technology. App notifications for the campaigns we also run are impacting our ability to focus. All right? I can't remember the last time my phone was on ring mode. And I've gotten used to my eyes going to my phone from time to time. Because the moment it rings loud, it becomes something else. I get obsessed. I get all kinds of things. You know, it creates tension. You have so many things to deal with. So that's technology. It's impacting our lives in some ways that we don't want. Mental health issues. Technology generates mental health issues. You know how it does that? Fake. I have a daughter who is 19 years old, and one day I was asking her, she has a large Instagram followership, and I was asking her, how do you guys manage to separate your digital identity from your real identity from your virtual identity? He said, Daddy, you know what? Not if you don't come from a home that had told you the differences. You see us, you see our generation. What you see on Instagram is not who we are. But some people get carried away with those things. They either commit suicide or they steal. But the one that creates the biggest mental issue is bullying that happens in that space. But the kind of peer pressure that hits this generation of users of that medium, you can't imagine. People jump into the lagoon. If you link it, you will see some people are struggling to meet up for what is not real in the real sense of it. So let's be careful of the people we call our brand ambassadors and our influencers that live fake life and people follow them. So you can't cut off one-on-one communication and the training we give our children back home. Difficulty differentiating between human. This is much more important. And I want to slow down here. Difficulty, again, technology makes it difficult for us to differentiate between human and artificial intelligence. And I'll share an example here. If you look at this, how do you reward marketing communication practitioners for these two pieces of work? Do you reward the agency for use of machine to create this? AI engines, or do you reward the agency talent for artistic talent to create that? So you now go in to cheer awards outside this country, and you find out that most of the people who win the creative awards and media awards come from the technology business. So we are losing our humanity and our talent to technology. That's the point I want to make here. And we have to be very careful with that. Looking ahead, what do we see coming? I see broader, sophisticated, specialized marketing functions coming up, from brand marketing to performance marketing. I'm being careful here because my eye is hitting my client here, and I'm being careful so I don't go back and say, Emeka, that thing you said that day, come and bring it now. So, from reach planning to people-based planning. That's what we see, and this is happening now, not even the future, but I'm just trying to share where this whole thing will end in the next 2, 3, 4 years maximum. And therefore, if we don't reinvent ourselves and align ourselves, we are out of business. All right? We will keep complaining and shouting that, oh, regionalization, they're keeping our businesses in South Africa. They're putting our businesses in Dubai. We have a client who will serve campaigns from Dubai. And we have local agencies because they have not invested in data, they have not invested in technology. They still hire mass communication experts instead of engineers, people who code, and people who analyze data, or mathematicians, or people who know what it takes to string algorithms together to deliver results and then probe data. What do they end up doing? They end up closing shop, or they end up when they win a global piece of business, they just become implementation agencies. You can't earn the respect of your client if you don't invest in your own business. And I say something, we've struggled in the industry to get clients to say, oh, you contribute to the data that we want to roll out. No client will be ready to pay for your data. The clients are investing in their own things. So they expect the industry to invest in their own practice. That's as simple as that. We just need to cut profits and invest in our business. All right? I see from outdoor planning, we've moved to location planning. All right? We see existing skills will be redefined from mass communicators, brand managers, media planners and copywriters to communication experts and solution planners. So we're going back to what looked like the old school, from the silos of media planning, from the silos of offline creative agency, from the silos of digital creative agency to solutions partners for clients. That's what not only technology is doing, but that's a future-proofing mandate for business survival. I see new skill sets will be required to play in marketing in the days ahead. Engineers, software miners, software and data miners, data scientists and programmers. And if we see this as the future of survival and allowing Forex, you know what? Most of the global networks today are looking for centers of excellence around the world. All right. Recently, the network I partner with in the market had to lay off 10,000 staff. What have they done out of Japan? Around the world, even in Africa. What have they done? If we find out that you have the best DMP platform or the best data scientists, engineers out of Nigeria, they'll simply take jobs from around that market to optimize investment and to lower costs for clients and situate it in Nigeria. So you play to where you have invested much with technology, with data, with skills, with people. But unfortunately, all I hear every day is Japa. Japa to go and do what? Exactly, Japa to go and do what? Because our curriculum is so badly skewed. Today, you still render the traditional marketing educational curriculum in the universities. I have read case studies of kids dropping out of school and relying on the internet to become the best that they are today. Is it not high time that our regulators like APCON relook the whole metrics and decision who takes a vow to become APCON members to include these people that are changing the sphere of the practice? Because the more we keep them outside, the likely we'll be losing business to them and we're not going to learn anything. Right. And I see policies we need to be reviewed to address new challenges. Policy frameworks, I refer to it, we need to be revisited. Otherwise, we are deceiving ourselves. You banning the use of foreign models, I like it. Because my local models, we have jobs. What happens to Nigerian internationals who are also models being used by international brands? Are you saying if any of our players here who are signed up with Everton, with Man U, with Chelsea, and then a global brand or a service chain like Sainsbury in the UK decides to use them to play at the World Cup, therefore, how would you block that those faces will not be used elsewhere? Let's be careful. I will always talk to my friends at APCON. All right? It's not as easy as it appears. Yes, we want local production. Yes, we want local models. But let's be sure that we are not pointing four fingers at ourselves as we are putting fingers out there. I'm a big fan of localize it, but I have to tell you the way it's going to play out. I hope we don't suffer retaliation across the world. Are you saying our people will no longer go out to act as models or what? How do you reconcile that? Are you going to cut off the forex that we need that comes from overseas in this space? Okay? So, I also see future marketing models that will involve technology more. And what models are we looking at? I see models where we will build predictions. The ability to evaluate, predict demand, and supply with better accuracy compared to the alternative presents new opportunities for better inventory management, consumer insight, and consumption. All right. We know about the economic models that exist in Europe. With more and more technology adoption in our markets, we're going to see more of these predictions. Some of our clients can tell you how they will end up in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, barring any COVID or global pandemic. All right. So we will need more robot. We need a lot of data. It is no longer, I refuse to buy the blackmail from the developed societies in our game to say, oh, Africa is a data market. Africa is not a data dark market. We have data. But the Africans are not investing in technologies that will allow them to galvanize the data and query the data and apply the data and make a sense of it all. That's the problem I see. Technology is going to offer convenience. Maturity of marketing is inevitable as consumer behavior will begin to tend towards the convenience that digital commerce offers. A lot of people order. I eat pizza when I want to eat. But I've never been to any pizza shop. Yet a pizza shop is my client. I haven't been. What am I going there to do? So no thanks to technology, the internet. All right? More importantly, there will be synergized partnerships. The idea of head of a goat instead of the tail of an elephant is going to go away. I started the business. Collaboration and partnership will be more compelling because you can't sit in one small space and have answers to all the solutions. And who are you partnering with? You will be partnering with even young people as young as 21, 18 who have specialist skills in certain areas because they can't come out to join you because they don't want to walk, they don't want to be boxed. The first thing they walk through your door, research has shown that Gen Zs, people born between 1996 or there about 1995 to date, all right, that the day they cross, they pick up your employment form from your HR, they give themselves 12 to 18. If the place is beautiful, they give themselves 18 months. Yes, 12 months. They're on the lookout. Some of them have had the boldness, I don't want to say effrontery, so it doesn't connote a different thing, to ask me, sir, nice job. Can I walk 3 days from home and come here 2 days? I say, why are you asking me this question after negotiating your salary? He says, sir, but that's what it is. I say, okay, now, you're asking to work for us as a consultant. All right, tell me how many hours. Unless you want to tell me how you want to account for what you do at home. He says, sir, let's talk about today. That young chap works for us once a day. So he has time to do other things. So the days of insisting that because you've given him they know what they want. They're interested in hammer, in their own language. All right? But our own generation, we were told, I started my career with an old bank, all right? Old dead bank, defunct bank, is that you have to be patient. So, small, you'll be climbing until you become the head of the department. Not anymore with these kids. All right? So, partnerships. You need bigger partnerships with technology people, with data people, with platform builders, okay? And marketing will deliver total customer experience at the end of it all from one-stop shop. That's what we're looking at. So we are going back to where we came from, but with technology powering it, and no poor cousins, but equals in the partnership. I started my career in advertising from copy to media, and then to business, to client service, to a bit in production, and so forth, so on. Then you will hear, how dare you ask a client service manager why he said you should revise the schedule? You just take instruction. In that space, those days, in the hierarchy, of importance, it is a creative. They are paid different salary scale. Then followed by who? The client service people. They all know it all with nice suits. They engage the client. When they sneeze, the agency catches cold. All right? And then the poor media people. You're just on this. But it's completely different today. Completely different, because the trove of data that you will need to mine comes from media. They have access to media. But that doesn't make media better than the other units. It's still need the creative and so on. So it's going to be a union of equals, relevant equals, pulling together. Not because clients will want to save costs. They don't want to pay you for client service director in your media agency, client service director in your creative agency, client service director in your data agency. They want to cut costs. That's as simple as that. So we're coming into a total solution customer experience that will cover brand experience, product experience, service experience, and buying experience, which is total commerce. We take it from end to end today. That's where the world is going with technology. There will be rapid transition. A few years back, it was cashless economy, cashless payment. Technology is moving us to cashierless economy. Today, in some parts of Europe, in some locations, most parts of Europe and most of US, you don't see anybody at the fuel pump or the gas pump. You pick up your gas pump and off you go. From physical experience, thank you. I have 2 slides. From physical experience to metaverse, we will leapfrog to the Internet of Things. That is simple. You know, Nigeria, we're used to leapfrogging. All right? I'm not too sure anybody here, even the young ones, when you want to buy your children, when you start having children, computers, you start buying them, see the magic he's performing. You start them with LEM pads. You start them with phones, tiny. The big laptops that we have, we go out of extinction because all business will be conducted with the tiny device. In summary, marketers must fully leverage advancements in technology, not just for storytelling, improve brand experiences for the consumer, compliance with regulation and ethics, or for the sake of innovation, but as a collective mandate to future-proofing our businesses while recognizing potential overdrive effects in the industry. Thank you.
Wow. 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 Before I call up the next speaker, please, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a solid, sound round of applause for this veteran. If you're not clapping, you will not graduate. I've said that. You know, what he has done this afternoon, you know, I was practically in class taking notes and taking videos because, you see, he reminded us the magic of tech. I call it the magic of tech because something happened some 7 days ago. What tech can do. It was a World Suicide Prevention Day. So we decided to do a campaign. So I and the students, we went to the Third Mainland Bridge and we got one of the students to do a skit, about 15 to 20 of us. And she was standing there looking at the water as if she wants to jump. We had cameras. And of course, people were looking at us like, is this for real? And next, somebody approached her. Everything was stage managed. And we started stopping her as if she wanted to jump and everything. And somebody filmed it. One of us actually filmed it. And something happened that shook me. We posted that video that same evening. And within an hour, we got about 27,000 views on Twitter. Within 24 hours, we had over 5 million impressions. Different blogs were carrying it. They actually believed that it was true. And that was just a skit to drive traffic to our page for the real video. Would it be possible that just a for the 5-second skit that we did on Top Milan Bridge, we reach over 4 million Nigerians? The answer is no. And I'll tell you today, guys, we are facing a tsunami, a change that is changing everything that we think we know. And for me, I'm here to learn, to relearn, and see how we can improve and take advantage of the ever-changing times. Please, a round of applause again for Mr. Emeka Okeke. So, we will be inviting our next speaker in the person of Adedeji is the board of International Breweries PLC. Tolulope, who sits on the Forbes Communications Council, has blazed so many trails in the course of her career journey, having built over 15 brands from scratch to market leadership positions. Tolu has indeed earned an enviable place in the Nigerian and indeed African IMC ecosystems. She has also served in various capacities, including Brand Commercial Associate Director of Procter & Gamble, Nigeria, Brand and Commercial Leader of the P&G business in Ethiopia, and has worked on various brands such as Always Pampers, Ariel, Gillette, and Oral-B in Nigeria. Join me as we welcome Tolulope Adedeji.
Good afternoon, Lagos. Lagos, what's going on? Good afternoon, Lagos. I just flew in from Port Harcourt, came straight from the airport to be here today. So please, and work with AB InBev. So just to clarify that small pronunciation, AB InBev, the biggest brew company in the world. And the brands we have in Nigeria are brands like Budweiser, Trophy Stout, Hero, Trophy Lager, and the likes, Better Malt and the rest. I'm so happy to be here and looking forward to the session. Even though we are not so many, I want us to be really here because I believe the content we have for today and the materials, looking at Mr. Emeka's slides, for example, are things that if we indeed listen and learn and leave this place, I really expect it to be a transformational session. Really, I really believe that much in what we've shared today, starting with, and I'm so happy that I came after Mr. Emeka actually because it really broke it down. It brought down the technical jargons. It shared different examples. My own content is a bit different in the sense that I'll show a lot of practical examples. I was privileged to be at Forbes this year, Cannes this year for the Cannes Lions. And there were very few Nigerians there. I know Steve was there, Babayako was there, a couple of other Nigerians were there. And my eyes really popped, right? My eyes really popped because I didn't just read about tech. I saw examples of what tech can do. And I've brought that content here today to share some of them with you. And I really do hope that you take it and use that to transform your own businesses. So I'll just go straight to it. Do I have a clicker? I have my slides being controlled by someone at the back, Joshua. I will skip the Kahoot session and see if I can come back to that at the end. So tech explosion, right? It's such a big thing these days. And we can see in Nigeria, I think tech is still mostly limited to social media marketing. And I'll give a personal example. When I started this role myself about 4 years ago, there was a lot of myth around digital marketing, social media marketing, which by the way is just a fraction of marketing. That is not what marketing is. For some of us that are true marketing professionals, true and true, it starts with the insight, to consumers. It's not just about creating content on TikTok. You see, I'm not a marketing professional. That's not what marketing is, just by the way. But even in Nigeria, just within the ambience of social media marketing and digital marketing, we are really just still scratching the surface. And I was very happy when Emeka said, my client is here, because when we leave here, all these things you showed on the PowerPoint, we have to do it though. It's not just a PowerPoint. So some of those things, we're still really just scratching the surface in Nigeria. And of course, I can't leave here without sharing some of my own brand examples, just to give you examples of what we do in my brands. You will see on the top left, we have what we call the Trophy Trivia with fouls that happens every Thursday, not all through the year, but occasionally. It started during the lockdown, just like a very simple, let's just do something with fouls. It's our brand ambassador, obviously, for Trophy Lager. Just simple as going on live. No production, no agency, nothing. Ask trivia questions around, general affairs, questions, just general questions. And every week, we had on average about 50,000 people being reached on these lives. These are numbers that in the past you will only reach maybe if you go through a whole full media schedule, maybe even a whole radio station, the whole listenership with 50,000, and so much stress to even get there, just by going on live. Nothing prepared, no drama, nothing. Right? On the top left there, we have what we call I think very proud of it, the first digital music show in Nigeria called the Budweiser Smooth Kings Remix. Started it last year. I said, what will happen if you do a show just on digital, on YouTube? Let's not go on TV. Let's see, what can happen from there. And it was such a big hit, right? On the average, every episode, 300,000, 400,000 views, 10 episodes, 5 million people. And these are things that are breaking stereotypes. And I keep telling my team, pushing my team, guys, we've not even started. Literally, we are still scratching. We're not even starting when it comes to digital exposure in Nigeria. On the bottom left there, we have what we call the Heroes Walk, the very first documentary in Nigeria around the Igbo apprenticeship system, Igba Boy, done by Hero. On YouTube, 1 million views, just this video alone, one piece of work. We didn't stop there. We took this to real life and started empowering Igba boys in the East. And it's so amazing because some of my teams will say, oh, but Igba boys, are they on social media? Are they on Facebook? Are they on... We had 1.5 million votes from Igba boys. 1.5 million votes on a landing page we created. Very simple, sophisticated page. Go vote for your Igba boy. You want to receive the grants. We had about 300 Igba boys that won about 50 million naira across board. Now, if Igba boys, these are, Omo boys in the East, training to learn, apprenticeship, how to sell spare parts, are able to give 1.5 million votes. You didn't see that campaign anywhere beyond just maybe small ads on Facebook. It wasn't a major campaign. Organically, can generate 1.5 million votes. I dare to say, there is no category, there is no brand, there is no region where digital cannot be a transformational tool for your business today. We have to get out of that mindset. When I came into my role, people will say, oh, people that drink trophy, are they really on Facebook? I'm like, where are they? Where are they? They're on their phones all day. Go there. They're the ones even having time in between the days when they're waiting for their customers that are there. Everywhere I go, talk about the salon, the hairstylist. They are the ones on Snapchat. You'll be shocked. It's not the person that you think is on, I don't know, Lekki Link Bridge, what. The hairstylist, they're on Snapchat. And if you go and uncover the insights why they are there, maybe because they want to show off their hairstyles, they want to use filters that make it look different. So we have to get out of those stereotypes, really thinking that digital or tech is only for some kind of brands. It's only if you work for maybe Google or, Meta or whatever. No, tech can be applied to every kind of industry. Even if you're a print newspaper, you can apply tech there. And I'll show you a couple of examples. If you go, Joshua, I'll skip this one, but right now we just kicked off yesterday, globally, our global Budweiser FIFA World Cup campaign. And I'll speak to what Mr. Meka said earlier about banning foreign models. As much as I understand the principle behind it about localization, I really do think the world has gone beyond that, frankly speaking, because for the first time in the history of Budweiser, which is a global brand, we got Nigeria featured in a global Budweiser film. That is huge. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you will see it. It was released globally yesterday. For the first time, you typically see Budweiser ads, global ads, airing in China, America, everywhere, showing foreign ads. But with, of course, leadership, local representation, my team pushing, saying, guys, we are part of the global village. Why can't Nigeria be in a global ad that way in US? Why can't? If we can consume US models, if we can consume Asian models, why can't they consume African models? And if you go watch on my LinkedIn, you will see like 4 main spots with Nigerian flag on an ad airing in China, in US, anywhere, Singapore, you will see that. So I think we really need to open our minds, thank you, and realize that the world has gone global and make policies that will make our industry thrive, not to actually constrict the industry. So moving, and if you've not taken part in a Budweiser FIFA World Cup promo that started, please get a bottle of Budweiser, scan it, text the code. You can't be going to Qatar in November to go watch the game, even though we did not qualify. Yes, Budweiser did that. Thank you. So we live in a digital world, right? A small, quick advert there. I'm a marketer. What do you expect? We live in a digital world, if you go, Joshua, and I want to share a couple of trends with you. Emeka talked to some of them. I will just read through some of them. Artificial intelligence, I think it really broke that down, so I won't repeat them again. NFTs, cookieless future is coming. The blockchain technology, I was talking to some of my BMs, I was in Onitsha last week, thereabout, and talking about, oh, do you buy, cryptocurrencies? They are more, like you said, digital natives, more early adopters, and of course they do. You're wondering who buys these things. Nigerians are buying NFTs. Nigerians are buying these currencies, and they are trading in these currencies. Why? Because many of them now, like you said, are freelancers working in a global market. They can get paid, for a job they've done in US, right here in Shagamu. They don't have to leave Shagamu to get paid for a job in US. I have NYC workers volunteering to teach online platforms getting paid in dollars. So the world has really, really changed. And we have to open our mind as marketing professionals if you don't want to get stuck in the past. The world has gone beyond, oh, we have a new campaign. This is the TV copy. This is the key visual. This is the radio copy. Odabo. No. The world has gone beyond that, right? Social media for change, big data. We live in a world of big data. Social listening. You mentioned social listening earlier. The metaverse. You should have seen me trying to explain to some of my directors, peers, about the metaverse. People not in marketing. Someone said, so I will pay money. I said, yes. To buy land. I said, yes. On a place that doesn't exist. I said, yes. I started laughing. I said, why you are laughing? When you wake up in 10 years, you would understand why it's working. And something I learned in Kansas, before you criticize something, before you judge something, spend at least 20 hours researching that thing. If you've not done that, you're truly ignorant. And that's perfectly fine. So don't talk about it, right? Until you understand something, don't judge it. We have the second screen experience. We have e-commerce, we have virtual reality, we have augmented reality, we have computing power, we have creators across digital ecospace. Really looking at this when developing their campaigns, looking how to solve consumer problems. We are still very fixated many times. For different reasons, fear, will it work? Are consumers there? Do they understand it? How does it? All that, we need to get out of it and start to evolve our markets. Okay, Josh? So what I'll do, like I just said, so that's me right there, representing AB InBev, for those that don't know. This year won the Creative Marketer of the Year with Cannes globally. Thank you. And we were, by virtue of the fact that I work with AB InBev, I was lucky enough and privileged to be part of a global delegate that will represent AB InBev on a global stage. So that is different employees of AB InBev, including our CMO, Marcel, across the world, taking that Marketing of the Year, Creative Marketing of the Year award. And what I'm going to be sharing with you today is coming straight from Cannes. I'm sharing with you exclusive content that you wouldn't just find just everywhere. Really hopeful that you can take from it and start to think of how to apply it to your brands in Nigeria. Social listening, many of us see social media, our consumers are commenting, but are we really listening? Are we looking through the comments? Because comments from social media can form your next innovation, product development. So when I started marketing in those days, if you want to do research, you have to go through, shop along, follow the consumer to Okare market, stand behind her, watching her, asking, you want to buy pepper? How many? Is it 200 now? Can I, and that worked in those days. Or focus groups, if you want to even go really, get certificated, like you're really doing something tech. You do, focus groups, we sit behind a screen, they are talking, we are watching them, we are taking notes. But these days, with social listening tools online, you can see what your consumers are saying about your brand every day. And they never stop talking, right? You make your post, they talk, but do you really listen? Do you look? Do you try to see what you can do with that information? I'm going to next trend. I think I'm missing the sound. So you have to try with sound. Just to show why they are fixing the sound, that there's endless opportunities in what you can do with social listening, right? Still missing the sound, tech guys. It's a tech conference. Sound should be working. Tuesday, it was in the past, they listed an SKU, and consumers were, asking online, bring back this SKU, bring back this SKU for so many years, right? I think 9 years, thereabout. And over the years, they just didn't do anything about it. They kept trying to launch other variants that consumers didn't want, by the way. But after 9 years, they realized that they were not going to figure that out. So they had to bring back that old variant. And what they did was, they sat in a press conference with media, and they went through thousands of social media comments, calling out names of consumers that had asked for this SKU, saying, X, we see you, we hear you, this is back. Sorry it took us so long. Charles, we see you, we heard you. Sorry it took so long, we apologize. Joshua, we see you, it took so long, sorry is back. And that was the press conference. That was the press conference. Apologies, name by name, name by name, name by name. Consumers these days want to feel like they are heard. There is what we call personalization at scale, right? The world, even though we are so many consumers, millions of them, they expect that when they speak, there's a one-on-one interaction between you and them, and they want to be heard. They want to feel like you listen to them. So imagine you're a consumer, you're on TV, you're watching a press conference, and someone calls out your name, Otolu. We see your comment from 4 years ago, November 5th, 2018. You asked for this variant. We're sorry it took so long. It's back. What will be your reaction? What will be your reaction? Of course, you feel more involved. You feel more engaged. You feel more like you were carried along. And you will definitely go for that SKU, right? So this is what Skittles did in those years that really got them, beyond just going on social media and putting comments, listening and taking
9 years
action
ago,
from it.
we took away lime Skittles and replaced them with green apple. Turns out that was a terrible decision. In fact, 130,880 people complained online, and they've continued to complain for 9 years. Now that lime was back, we needed to turn all that hate back into love again. But how?
Good morning. In 2013, Skittles upset a lot of people by taking away lime. Skittles will now apologize to everyone who ever complained.
We started by apologizing with a 35-minute live press conference on Twitch.
At Cats and Jim's writes, I want lime Skittles. Green apple is garbage. We're sorry. At Matthew Calloway writes, green Skittles are the physical manifestation of sadness. We are sorry.
A record 136,000 people tuned in to watch us highlight and apologize to all that negativity.
At me 99999 writes, such trash. They taste of green apple and betrayal. Skittles suck now. The reason I have trust issues. I may as well have bought a vomit bag. Hashtag vom. At Piss Clams. We are sorry. Skittles is sorry. 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 Our bad.
Then we kept on apologizing on Twitter, in Times Square, and with a post apologizing to every single person we'd wronged. That took 10 hours and 54 minutes to read. And not just an empty apology, we sent everyone free Skittles. People loved it.
Mark the date. I received a public apology from Skittles for replacing lime
minutes
with green apple back in 2013.
All that corporate remorse resulted in over 5 million viewing minutes on Twitch. Searches for lime Skittles were up over 1,000%. Fast Company called it pretty close to a masterpiece, and sales of original packs rose 21%.
Are there any questions? Okay.
Apologize the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
That's a classic right there, right? Thank you. So it's okay to say sorry sometimes, right? It's okay to just listen to your consumers. They are, like I always say, I've been touring. We're launching a new brand tomorrow. And I've been touring everywhere, introducing a new brand to distributors, to employees. And I tell them, you're the ones paying my salary. Forget all this big dress I'm wearing. Madam, what do you want? When you see your consumers and your customers, you come down to whatever level. Because without them buying your brand really is nothing. So let's not get carried away by all the influencers and all those guys that probably don't even drink your brand most of the time, by the way. And really pay attention to our true consumers so that we can keep growing our business. Okay, let's go. So the second trend I'll be talking about here, do we have it? Is tech for change. And I use the word "was up" because my mom calls it "was up." Everybody most moms, I think they call it "was up," right? African moms, "was up." That's WhatsApp, by the way. I don't know who puts more content on WhatsApp than my mom in the world. My team can testify. Every information, and that's what we call earned media, right? Unsponsored posts. Any information, so far it looks legit to her, she's sending to all her contacts, right? And that's what we call earned media. There's paid media, there is earned media. The beauty of any marketing professional is the earned media, when you do things that people talk about without you paying them to do. And I don't know who doesn't use WhatsApp, maybe apart from my dad, by the way, doesn't use WhatsApp. Every other person uses WhatsApp. But do we look at WhatsApp as just a tool for us to chat, or it can be a channel, for consumers to really take action and talk about your brand? One thing I've seen with consumers is that if you really care about their needs, right, and solve those needs, I tell my teams about solving consumer needs, they will do that marketing for you. But when you start to throw money at things, force them, it doesn't work, right? So I'll show you an example of basic WhatsApp. How WhatsApp was used in India, I believe, to cause a revolution in politics among women. And this is with almost zero money. So money is never an excuse, by the way. If you're thinking of tech, oh, I don't have big budgets and all that. Money is never an excuse for you not to use tech for your business.
India is the world's largest democracy, but only less than 10% of the parliament are women, leaving 50% of the democracy unheard and unseen. But why can't women make it to the parliament? For women to advance from lower level elected positions to the parliament, they have to be nominated by the party leaders, which are more than 90% men. But when we meet party leaders, they ask us, where are all the women?
It's time that we showed them where they are.
Shakti, India's only collective advocating for political representation of women, along with the Times of India, presents the Nominate Me selfie. We started with Bihar, a large state with the worst gender parity in the country. 140 grassroots organizations helped take the message to 45,000 villages. Each woman created a selfie that became her resume, citing credentials and achievements in public service and an appeal to nominate her. And then we sent those selfies to the party heads, forcing them to see what they had chosen to unsee for 70 years. Nominate Me selfies turned into a movement, traveling from phones to newspapers to television.
Tricky political landscape of Bihar, but this time the women also went for another factor.
22 out of 115 party nominations were given to women, a never-before moment in Bihar's history. 72 women inducted in public policy committees. We created the first ever pipeline of women ready to transition into leadership roles. Our movement continues.
Against all odds, Shakti's volunteers traveling from state to state, armed with nothing but a mobile phone and a selfie camera.
Our selfies won't stop till half is us, half is ours.
Wow, isn't that just brilliant, right? Sometimes you think tech is about, oh, let's go to metaverse. Now maybe we're going to get there over time, gradually. But don't on the target impression, target tried before. This was done in India. So as you think about your brand, start to think of application. How can you use these trends and these tech platforms for your brand? So if you go to the next one, tech in financial services, leveraging data. And I'm deliberately showing different examples so that no matter what industry you are here, whether you're in banking, in healthcare, whatever industry you are, you can see yourself in these examples. Because sometimes you see these things, it feels very big, it feels very, we don't understand it. But when you see real life examples, it helps you to really break it down to see how you can use it in your own business. So let's do this. Joshua, play this.
Millions of low-income women in Mexico cannot study or start a business because they don't have access to credit. 83% of them don't have a bank payment history that allows for verification of their payment behavior, thus having their loan applications rejected.
Solicitar un crédito, nadie me lo ha querido dar porque no cuento con historial crediticio.
Paradoxically, they are women who have received loans from neighborhood stores all their lives. So they have a long credit history, just that these credit records don't appear in the financial information centers, but the accounting records of thousands of shopkeepers throughout the country. That is why We Capital, in search of the financial inclusion of women in Mexico, launched Data Tienda, a financial information center within the reach of banks, which recovers the credit history of millions of Mexican women from the neighborhood businesses' accounting records. To collect data, women should only enter the information of at least 5 trusted stores on datatienda.mx. So the system, through WhatsApp bots, automatically collects qualitative and quantitative information from shopkeepers, and it creates a credit score, which analyzes even more variables than the traditional information information system.
Es una central de información financiera como cualquier otra, solo que con mujeres no bancarizadas. En Data Tienda podemos consultar su comportamiento de pago y darles crédito con un margen menor de riesgo.
Today, 23% of the women on the platform have received microcredits for their businesses. And in just a few months, over 10,300 credit histories have been generated with information from nearly 50,000 shopkeepers throughout the country.
Miles de mujeres han recibido microcréditos para sus emprendimientos gracias a Data Tienda.
Inclusión financiera para las mujeres en México.
Historias de crédito que cambian historias de vida.
No, a mí ya había 2 veces que me negaban el préstamo y hasta ahora me lo dieron.
Con el crédito que me hicieron, yo me compré esta máquina.
We are recovering credit histories to change life stories. Data Tienda.
So imagine this. So what I'll talk about here is, like, I've run some national consumer promotions on my brand, especially in 2020 with the pandemic and things were hard, and we generate millions of entries on each brand, millions. So we've tried data acquisition before, but getting data is one thing. Using the data, right, in the age of big data is another thing entirely. Many of us generate data on a daily basis from our customer records, but what do you do with that data? And I put it to you, many brands here today, your brands are being consumed by millions of people every month. Your brand can actually make a much bigger impact in a society than you can imagine. It's high time we went from just selling to people, marketing to them, making them buy stuff, but thinking about how can your campaigns bring your brand purpose to life? How can you use your brands to solve problems that consumers are facing today through the campaigns that you run, such that it makes an impact beyond just, I've done adverts, I've done a TV campaign, right? So something to think about and start to think of examples for your brands. Go to the next one. This is big, right? This is voice. So, these days, if you go on YouTube, and the biggest, I think, podcast in Nigeria is called I Said What I Said. Who knows what I said, A wave of hands, yeah? Okay, so at least I think young people in the room might know it a bit more. The world has really, really changed. Voice is huge now. In the olden days, the only voice we knew about was radio, right? Radio ads, radio copy. But these days, everybody is a podcaster. All you need is a microphone and a point of view. And these days, everybody has a point of view on anything. Young people are starting podcasts. Your brands, are they there? Are they there in the right places? Are they plugged into the right podcast? We know voice search platforms like Siri, like Alexa, but the world has even gone beyond that. I'm going to play one of my favorite examples of data and voice has been used, where they are actually banking voice to change lives, right? So start to think when you're running a campaign, beyond just I've done the TV adverts, I've done the key visual, I've done radio copy. The world has really gone beyond that. This was one of the best examples I saw on voice banking in the references that I'm going to share.
They kept saying, I'm so sorry. I think it's MND.
Almost everybody living with MND will lose their voice.
When I first had the diagnosis, everybody said, bank your voice, bank your voice.
Voice banking allows people with MND to create a digital copy of their own voice, so even after they lose the ability to speak, they can still sound like themselves. But only 12% have gone through with it.
You had to record 1,600 phrases. The average time it took was 3 months.
It was a lot of hard work, to the point that I actually gave up.
So we created the book, I Will Always Be Me, a new way to bank your voice. We worked with a New York Times best-selling author to create a story that gives people the words to express what they're going through.
People can tell their families that everything's changing, but I will always be me.
The way the book's been written means that all the different combinations of sounds are all in there. Everything we would need to synthesize a voice is contained within the text of the story.
Everything is changing. My voice sounds a little different.
Sometimes I will even need help with the very same things that I used to help you with.
Everything is changing, but I'll always be me. And I'll always love you.
I couldn't have written it any other way.
Here's my first sentence.
I just banked my voice by reading the book, I Will Always Be Me.
I thought it was you talking. It's one of those voices that you won't ever forget. It's your mum's voice.
You ready?
Well, that voice is sexy.
Woo!
You don't have to record thousands of different words and phrases anymore. A simple, short story is changing lives.
I will always be me. It's so true.
Wow, right? That is what tech can do. So for me, the challenge is, we know in Nigeria, there are different kind of problems, right? This is, if you're looking for a problem to solve with your brand, you can never want a real consumer problem. If it is, trust me, it's going to fly on its own with little support, right? So think of how you can use tech to actually solve real consumer problems. I'm almost out of time, so I'm going to skip a couple of the videos. We've talked about the creator's economy, so I can skip this one. Using influencers to actually generate earned media, so just skip, right? We've gone from the world of just having a face of somebody on your brand to people actually creating content more than what your brands can create. And it takes these guys, you know, Brad, Shaggy, Macaroni, they can create 10 videos in a month. But as brand teams, sometimes it can take us 3 months for the pre-production meeting, post-production meeting, casting. Before you finish, the whole trend has disappeared. What you want to talk about is no longer relevant, right? The days of big production budget, you know, is not fully over, but you have to think differently about how you generate content. Blockchain technology, right? To talk about NFTs, right? Using the blockchain to sell creative pieces of art, to create, you know, things that are unique, that cannot be bought by any other person for a premium price. And it might feel like it's so far-fetched from Nigeria, because really, why would I buy land on a space I cannot see? But start to invest and research time into this. Let's go, Joshua, skip. Skip. No, skip. Metaverse, again, we talk about the metaverse, right? Very similar in terms of virtual reality, augmented reality. We have brands all over the world using metaverse in concerts. You know, the recent Super Bowl halftime, where you had people at home watching the concert from like 9, 10 different camera angles, giving an impression to consumers like they were there, right there in the concert itself. Okay, skip, let's go. Skip. I'll play just one more video.
The metaverse. The
skip.
Metaverse.
Skip. And if you've not seen the video on Metaverse on YouTube by Mark, founder of Meta, please, I encourage you to go watch it. Artificial intelligence for real life change. This one I really feel strongly about, so I'll play because it's really, really critical. Let's not think of artificial intelligence as something that is so far-fetched, that is not relevant, that we cannot use in Nigeria. There are different ways you can use these things that can be relevant for our market, and I'll share an example. So play.
Brazil 2018. Year of general elections in one of the most corrupt countries in the world. More than 40,000 candidates favored by a complex justice system designed to hide their acts of corruption from voters. But one thing's for sure. They'll flood the country with electoral campaigns, kissing babies and making promises everywhere. But the more they show their faces, the more vulnerable they will be. Corruption Detector by Aklami Aki. Based on facial recognition, Corruption Detector is an app that draws on a database with all their official records of corruption, previously hidden in hundreds of courts. By simply pointing a phone at a candidate, voters can now spot the corrupt ones in purple, no matter where they are. On TV, papers, internet, everywhere. Even in person. Hated by the corrupt. Loved by everyone else.
O eleitor, você tem que fazer o dever de casa. Mas uma ferramenta como essa pode ajudar isso a ser muito mais fácil.
Corruption Detector took over the social conversations. Really big conversations. For the first time, the hunt for dirty politicians was in the hands of the people. Giving the clean ones a reason to promote their integrity. In just 1 week, Corruption Detector became the most downloaded app in Brazil. In a year when politicians must show their faces to a country with over 200 million smartphones, we leave the corrupt ones no place to hide. So now, by knowing the true face of each candidate, voters can change the face of the country. Corruption Detector by Aklami Aki. When corrupt politicians show their faces, we drop their masks.
Isso aqui é uma sacanagem.
No shades, no shades. But I think we need this app in Nigeria, don't we? On this note, if you don't have your PVC, I think it's too late. I'm not sure you can still collect. But if you have, please vote. I know there's jackpot going on, but how many country can fit the whole of Nigeria? 200 million. Where we are still here, let's fight for the soul of this country. Please vote, and your vote will definitely count. Otherwise, if it doesn't count, why are they paying some to vote? It counts, right? So please, please, please take time to cast your vote. And, while we get the tech, we still have our manual ways of voting. So please, let's vote, right? Cool. So last one is just that I've shared so many examples. I think the way this program is structured is perfect. Emeka showed a lot of the framework, the way it works, the tech. But I wanted to just show some examples. So it really starts to come to life. You don't think that another advert nobody gives to that your brand deserves. Thank you very much.
Wow. Guys, I know you can do better. Thank you a lot as well. I like to always put it this way. All that you know is not all that there is to know. And so it's important to keep learning. The day you stop learning is the day you what? You start dying. And please, I want to make a special appeal to the organizers of these events. And I'm making this on behalf of my students who I know I have a lot of them here. Yeah, O2 Academy. Please, I want to make a special appeal that this presentation, is it possible that we can have this presentation, given or sent to all of us? Yes. Please, promise us. Promise. Thank you. Please, let's appreciate them. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so I just got informed that we have 15 minutes tea break, so we can commence with our panel session. Thank you very much, everyone. 15 minutes tea break, and we are back. Okay, so please remain seated while the hostesses, direct us on quickly and get back to business. Thank you. Please remain seated while the hostesses do their job.
covered in sweat from having these wild dreams. Where I'm from, bright lights, they tend to be hard to see. Woke up covered in sweat from having these wild dreams. Where I'm from, bright lights. Woke up covered in sweat from having these wild dreams. Where I'm from, bright lights, they tend to be hard to see. Oh, I pray for strength, please let it wash over me. I can't help myself from having these wild dreams.
Yeah, kept to myself that nobody know harm unless them was really deserving it. Come from a place where you can't even sleep, talk less of even dreaming it. Them not believe in themselves, then how can they believe in me? All of my blessings from God, still don't know what He sees in me.
Ooh, I see so much further than what's in front of me. Whenever I fall asleep, woke up covered in sweat from having these wild dreams. Where I'm from, bright lights, they tend to be hard to see. Oh, I pray for strength, please let it wash over me. I can't help myself from having these wild dreams. Wild, 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 wild dreams. Wild, wild, wild dreams.
And they feel like it's still water with they run deep. Cause the life that they live to, they never come cheap. Feel like it's taking something from me. After sacrifice if you won't become me. Life is a ride, I take the front seat. Let the most I drive, it can't go wrongly. Highs and lows, not lows they won't see. But those same lows, they make the song sweet.
I see so much further than what's in front of me. Whenever I fall asleep, woke up covered in sweat from having these wild dreams. Where I'm from, bright lights, they tend to be hard to see. Oh, I pray for strength, please let it wash over me. I can't help myself from having these wild dreams.
¿Cómo puede ser verdad? ¿Cómo puede ser verdad? Last night I dreamt of San Pedro. Just like I'm never gone, I knew the song. Young girl with eyes like the desert. It all seems like yesterday, not far away. Tropically island breeze, all the nature wild
Hello? Hello? I can see some cups and some things happening with the mouth. So, but we have to start. We have to start. So please, can we settle down? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting into the real talk, the real industry talk, conversation. And this is the meat of this summit because it will be interactive. And trust me, there's a lot to learn and relearn. And so without much ado, I would like to call up the panelists. And the first person I have on my list is Mr. Tunji Adeyinka. Mr. Tunji Adeyinka is the president of Experiential Marketers Association of Nigeria, EXMA. He is also the group managing director of Republicum Group, a full-service agency group with an inspired agenda to transform business in Africa by offering strategic business marketing and communication solutions to meet their needs in a new digital age. Adeyinka has worked on different brands in several sectors covering technology, telecommunications, FMCG, finance, and healthcare for over 20 years. The Republican Group provides services covering communications, consulting, technology, and strategy. Tunji's work experience has spanned the agency business where he worked in MC&A, Sachi and Sachi, Tequila Nigeria, Rosabel, and Connect Marketing Services. He also has some experience in the telecommunications sector where he worked for several years. Please join me as we welcome Tunji Adeyinka to the stage. Okay, and the next panelist is Ralph Idu. Ralph Idu is the Chief Executive Officer, Chief Creative Officer at Poke Limited. Ralph, as he's fondly called by admirers, is a strong creative strategist, a business leader, a vivid idea person with passion and expertise in brand building. With over 9 years experience in advertising, he has been emblazoned as creative icon, having served as creative expert with several agencies, including the famous Leo Bonnet, Lagos, and also headed Inside Grey as a copy group head. He has served diverse clients and various leading brands across the continent, such as Bank PHB, Legend Extra Stout, Golden Penny Noodles, Golda, but to mention a few, as the list is endless. He sat as creative director at FRO Appraisals, a brand that was created as a logical complement to the growing activities in the Nigerian entertainment industry, where the creative group led a team of young creative design people in crafting the edgy design message the brand became known for. Raphael is a proud product of both the Berlin School of Creative Leadership and University of Lagos, where he bagged BSc Mass Communications, Public Relations, and Advertising. His most recent memorable work include the creation of the Found on Konga campaign and Yakata 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome Ralph Idu to the stage. And the next panelist is Franklin Ozekome. Franklin Ozekome is the CEO and head of futures at Identiture Africa. He is also the creative mind behind Think Africa and BS School, a strategy and innovation academy for marketing and creative professionals. In the course of his career, Franklin has collaborated with connection planners, data scientists, strategists, product managers, entrepreneurs to design future-forward marketing toolkits, programs and strategy playbooks for applied innovation and business transformation in the SSA market. He has worked on brands like Pepsi, Co, MTN, Visa, GSK, British Airways, Nestle, Samsung, Guinness, Liberty Health. And the next panelist is Dr. Omotola Aletiyi. Dr. Omotola Aletiyi is the Marketing Director, Sub-Saharan Africa for Pladis Global, with senior management experience across the financial and manufacturing sectors within West Africa and Middle East markets. She is an energetic and passionate expert in the crafting and implementation of consumer-centric and resonant marketing strategies, working in a highly matrix structure. Dr. Omotola, an adjunct lecturer in the Marketing Department, Faculty of Business Administration with the University of Lagos, and a very much sought-after facilitator for customer service, consumer behavioral marketing, and brand management courses, soft and organizations, is a firm believer in empowering and consumer insights. To Omotola to the stage. And we have another panelist that will be joining us on the virtual platform, Vitatus Pauxtis. Vitatus Pauxtis is the co-founder and CEO of Eskimi, a mobile-first social network. He is vast and well-rounded across all fields with almost 2 decades of professional experience in mobile, telco, mobile marketing, telemarketing, direct sales, mobile operator marketing, customer acquisition, and mobile payments. He also sits as the CEO, Active XT, the offshore IT recruitment wing of Eskimi, with intention to expand to Asia. Is also a founding partner, Vero Mobile, a leading mobile payment aggregator in Lithuania and Baltic states. He has also served in different capacities as senior product marketing manager, mobile internet product marketing and manager, and internet sector manager across regions, including Lithuania and Baltic states. Before leading this venture as CEO of Eskimi DSP, he founded Eskimi Social, one of the pioneering mobile-first communities in Africa and Asia, with more than 25 million users, with biggest market in Nigeria, Ghana, Indonesia, and Vietnam. He further led the growth of Eskimi DSP, bootstrapping it to become a globally competitive programmatic ad platform with more than 1.5 billion profile users mobile. Let's welcome Pauxtis online. And that's about that for our panelists. So, who?
This is a Franklin show, but just with the side axis.
Okay, sorry for the omission. We have one more panelist. My sincere apologies. Chibike. Mr. Chibike is the CEO of Dutchers ADX and founder of Scroller app. Dutchers ADX Limited, a tech company that powers data and internet advertising businesses in Africa. The technology provides data programmatic advertising technology that connects businesses and brands to millions of target customers on mobile and desktop internet. This helps businesses to attract new customers, boost online sales, and brand awareness. He has MBA and BSc in Business Administration from Ahmadu Bello University with specialization in finance, technology, and corporate strategy. He also has a certification in Java programming technology from prestigious NIT. He is a member of the Chartered Institute of Administration, CIA Nigeria, alumni of Enterprise Development Center of Lagos Business School. Before moving to AdTech, Chibike worked with Zenith Bank and UBA, where he performed banking operations, relationship management, and product development. He facilitated a number of products in the banks, including agricultural financing, warehouse receipt financing, and corporate lending. He worked with the team to deploy the first private commodities exchange in Nigeria, AFEX. He is a regular speaker in DME Exco, Digital Marketing Exhibition, Germany. He is a member of Coscado 2020, After Changemakers Group, Digital Africa Summit Group, and many more. Join me as we welcome Mr. Chibike to the stage. Okay. Okay. So, good day once again, everyone. And we will be talking about tech explosion in the digital age, the imperatives for the IMC industry. A young man gave me a call some days ago, and he said to me, he's actually an alumni of O2. He said, "Boss, I'm moving." I said, "Moving to where?" He said, "I just got a new place." And I'm like, "Where?" He said, "A tech company." He's actually an art director from one of the biggest advertising agencies in this country. I said, "Why are you moving?" He said two things that struck me. He said, the job is 50% from home and 50% physical. And I always ask this question: why are you really making this move? Is it lack of fulfillment or pay? And he said very clearly, it's pay. And he said, I'm going to be earning 6 figures in dollars. Now, that brings me to the first question I would like to ask. What does the future hold for our industry with the rate at which a lot of IMC industry experts are moving to tech? What does the future hold? And this goes to you, Franklin Ozekome.
Thanks very much, Ozone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be speaking to all of you here today. The industry as is can only, what you call, it's already commoditized. So we have to evolve beyond the way the business is currently doing. I think it's very apparent looking at the speakers today and all that they've shared here that we can only change, there's a very important need to change our business model. If you look at the trend in top marketing companies, and I'm talking marketing companies, not marketing communication industry, they are beginning to have their own creative departments where they bring the best of resources from advertising agencies and they put them and try to drive them to develop their own unique products and services. So if we continually be on that journey as it is, there will be a come down to what I call the way business is. The only way to do that is, first of all, one, look at where the trends are going naturally. What are customers, which are agencies' clients, what are they interested in? They're interested in getting the attention of the consumers. And why is that? Because they need them to buy their products and services. And the only way to do that these days using technology is to behave and act like a platform. Therefore, the agency must transform as a platform. Not sharing services when you get a brief or this thing, but use all of those data, insights, and resources to also platformize yourself, just like what I'll bring the Uberification of marketing communications to agencies. And that means you can no longer have departments and structures like client service, strategy, creative. That was brought into the 60s and 70s. So those models were developed for brands like the Unilevers and Co's that they themselves are transforming. So if you look at an Uber, for example, looking at the traditional agency model, how would you serve that when your business departments are using the 60s and 70s model. Today's business structures have to model in that day and light. You need to have trends and insights section. You need to have industries, specialization, where you have an industry or an agency that understands, for example, food and drinks. We're very afraid to create unique spaces. We think it will, limit our monetary or commercial value. But if you look at Europe and even some of these programs, they focus on one thing, and they focus on it every single day. And if you focus on one thing every single day for 5 years, you are the best and the best another be. Imagine we have an agency that is focused on real estate, marketing communication agency, that barely 2 of them, that talks real estate from services to creative to digital ecosystems to trend reports to creating of experiences and so on and so forth. We don't have. So we want to do everything, and yet we don't do anything because we don't have real skill in any one sector. If we say we are the creative industry, what about those in the film and entertainment? What about those in the fashion? So what are we really creating? How can you be in the creative industry if you don't really create anything? Where are our products? Where are our services? If you do not serve a brief or launch a campaign, what do you have? You have to wait for the next brief. You have to wait for the next thing to pay your salary. So you have to look at the client side and say, well, these guys are creating products every day. They are creating a unique product. Where are own products that you can click online and you can download a product or service? Why are we not digitalizing our own products and services? We're talking about the B2B, the explosion of B2B. Why do we not have platforms, products and services from an agency that focuses on B2B, agri-tech or agri-food? So that those are the guys that understand food and drinks. Oh, those are the guys that's why they call Fs for every single pitch, because the clients are not sure. What do these guys know? Oh, they're cool as their last award. But what do they know tomorrow? They still call you for the pitch because you don't stand out. And that is where, so for us to recreate ourselves, first of all, we need to look inward. It's not about pursuing a client. You can take 1 year to renew yourself and reset the basis for why you exist. And I think the first question to ask is, what business are we really in? What business are we in? Is it content? Is it marketing? Is it consumer service? Or is it trends? You can take anyone. But take that one thing and scale and deep dive and own it. There's no one agency in Nigeria today that I can beat my chest. I've been in industry. I've worked with Insight Publishers for 14 years. I left as the group strategy director. I worked with Ralph. He was the creative director. For over 12, 13 years, we worked together on campaigns. We launched everything from Conga to Pepsi Long Throat, to Heritage Bank and Kings and Queens. We've worked on campaigns. But why did I have to leave to set up an innovation company last year? Because I'm a trends expert. What I do is I see trends and I share trends. I think this is where this trend is going. Agencies are going there. In fact, they've been there since 2014. Tell me one cool ad you've seen that's actually transformed industry, commerce, ecosystems, society since 2012, 2013. It's cool for 12 months, then we'll go on to the next thing. If we are creative industries, how do we create impact on the things that are affecting all of us? And I always say, if you will have problems, look to the left, talk to the creative guy, look to the right, because these guys work across spaces and niches. But if we're still having this problem, that means there's no creative really brought to bear. It's just the ads, the press ads, but what does that really mean? Where's the impact? So I think, as you asked, Ozone, for agencies you have to reset. They have to understand culture. To me, content is not king. When people say content is not king, it's culture. Because content needs to be contextualized. Advertising needs to be contextualized. And the culture in Nigeria is very unique. Let's even look at Lagos. The way you behave in GRA Ikeja is the way you behave in Ikeja Awolowo Road. Just 5 minutes difference. How you drink beer in GRA, maybe a Rhapsody, for like 800 naira. I can afford to take it at Kobana for 800 naira. If I go to Awolowo, I will argue with that guy if he doesn't want to give me 350. Me, the same guy, the same pocket. Why? Because the environment has changed. Within a 5 minutes drive, talk less of VI, Lekki, or Lagos and Port Harcourt. Consumers are unique. 2, we need to understand customer segmentation. It has evolved from Franklin is 19 years old, has 1,000 naira, and he can afford DST. No, that has gone out with this thing. The key things to link is not even lifestyle, as it were, is to understand the things that influence and motivate behavior. We need to get that down pat. Thirdly, we need to begin to digitalize our products and services so there's no downtime. If there's a pandemic or anything tomorrow, you don't have to be afraid of people should come in or people are not coming in or businesses are not operating because 6 months. No, those things are gone. You need to behave like a commerce platform. So what can I connect with you after you've left my office? Let me connect with 1 or 2 products that I can buy from this agency. You've been doing it for 20 years, right? You've won many awards. You say you understand creativity in the beer and drink alcohol, but I don't see anything from you that tells me you own that space, unless you have to come and represent to me and pitch. In this time and age, where are your case studies? Where are your reports? How if you've worked with, for example, a soft drink brand or a luxury brand for 10 years, how come you're not co-creating or co-designing a luxury brand, your product yourself? Where are your spaces? So it can't be all about one niche space, just the service. You have to scale, but understand that you also need to be champion in industry perspectives. And I think that's the way we need to go. Thank you.
Nice one. You see, the conversation is getting hotter, and we can't just continue this conversation without inviting the king of branding. He's in our midst. And I tell you why. He is a Nigerian brand strategist and a public speaker and a businessman. He founded Abstract BMC, a branding and advertising company of which he has been principal consultant till date. Abstract has handled accounts of brands spanning the construction, aviation, fashion, telecommunications, banking, furniture, entertainment, education, hospitality, and pharmaceutical. He crafted phrases and words like cerebral filtration processes, processed thought to finish, oxygenation, reoxygenation, and oxyculture, O2Y culturation as the terminologies to employed in each day-to-day branding activities. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome Charles Otudo is in our midst. You're welcome, sir. And so, I would like to have the next question go to you, Ralph. As the tech landscape is changing, the marketing communication landscape also changes. How would brands prioritize marketing spend? And please, I want to say this. This session is more of having you ask your questions as you proceed. And if you don't feel like making it public, you can actually write it out. So we'll have one of the ushers bring it across to us, because this is your day. We're here to answer all your questions. Thank you. Over to you, Ralph.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to speak just broadly about. I don't like that you're asking a question about money. I'm the creative person here. The creative.
You are.
Yes. Okay,
not for a fee, right?
Not for a fee. just a token. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it in terms of the agency itself and in terms of brands, because they're kind of intertwined, and what both do would impact themselves. In terms of brands, we see a lot of brands these days waking up to the fact that technology is a disrupting force. So the job of technology really is to disrupt, whether we like it or not. There used to be this very famous quote that everything will be disrupted. So it's also happening in the marketing space. Today, one person without even a billboard could literally own all the billboards. And it's a very simple play. All you need is an ad server for all the billboards that exist, all the digital billboards. One person, one young guy who doesn't know. There's something about founding a business. When you don't know the limitations, you don't know the problems. You don't have that sector problem, we can't do this mentality, that fear. That one person will come, create an ad server for all the billboards and take it over. And then all of us in the sector will start to Yes, and we would all bow before that person's throne. It's happening in banking today. These are young guys who they don't have the limitation. They don't know. They've never met MFLA on the sidewalk and had conversations and know about the limitations, and they don't. So their job is to disrupt. For us in Poke, for example, we're investing heavily in live. We believe that live is the future of deliverable content for most clients. We see this because the trend is showing it. If you look to places like China and what they're doing with live and how that is changing e-commerce, that is changing marketing and everything. And then brands trying to tell more authentic stories. If you notice when Tolu gave her session, it's sad that she's not here, but when she gave her session, to the point where you could never get that kind of viewership and audience on paid campaign. We begin to find ways to be more authentic with live and then reduce their budget. So they'll say, okay, instead of this, can I just do take an influencer or somebody who has a platform who I don't need to spend $1 million, I don't need to carry cameras, I don't need to, set up like 5 or 10 no offense to the camera crew, but 5 or 10 cameras, I can just create this simple on a low budget and distribute. And brands are looking at that every single day. Then there's also the part of reducing your budget with the information, sourcing the information, the process itself of sourcing the information, and how tech is disrupting that. I'll give you an example that happened sometime in my career. At a point, when I was working in my former place of work, we did a session for one of the big food brands who was our client. And in that session, we were talking to women. And these women were giving us, because they were in a structured environment where you have camera on them, you have expectations of them. The feedback they were giving us was very, very, what's the word now? Limited. And that session had so much money was spent on it, setting it up, bringing all the respondents, all of that, the logistics and everything. When that campaign finally came out sometime later, the feedback on social media was negative. Now, we then created, by then I'd left that employment, and I now owned Poke and was the chief creative officer of Poke. Yeah? And the feedback we got from social media, we then created a campaign of our own, which was called Who Should Cook Dinner. And it was a social media campaign, shot quickly, and it basically was, the feedback from the crowd from social media was that, who is this woman that is a superwoman? She's cooking, she's cleaning, because that's the feedback the research gave after spending so much money. But the feedback that you could just glean from a listening tool that cost you 0.00 of the budget was that women were not happy on social media about this ad that portrayed them as superwomen who didn't take rest at all. And everybody said, where is the woman's husband? So then we created a campaign, a response campaign, Who Should Cook Dinner? And it was by Indomie. And we said, as long as anybody who's less busy cooks dinner. You know why? Indomie is easy to cook. So we created a whole story around it for a fraction of the budget. So brands are becoming more aware of this. They're becoming more aware of, hey, I don't have to spend this much on everything. Very soon, all the whole talk of getting 10 creative directors and 15 creative directors, we can already see what AI is doing in creativity. There was a case of, what do you call these guys? Macan, I think it was in Japan also, that they created an AI creative director. Today, I use AI sometimes I can't use it for creative direction yet, it's not at that level, but I use it for reference, because I can ask an AI tool to tell me what the ingredients of a campaign, and I'll use that as inspiration to create a campaign. So AI is already disrupting it. At the end of the day, the budget will become less. As they go less, clients will decide, you know what, maybe I don't really need a 50,000 man agency. Maybe I need one guy with robots, talking to robots. So we need to quickly start moving and disrupting ourselves before they come and disrupt us from outside. Thank you.
Nice one. And please, guys, remember, start putting down your questions so we can.
Sorry, Ozone, can I add to what he said? But
okay. Just quickly.
Yeah, okay. Because what it means as well is when you're talking payments, the age-old model of retainership case where agencies now have those kind of services, and you can pick the one that suits your palate and suits your budget. And I think agencies should be ready to embrace that stuff right now.
Brilliant. To take this question, we've been having guys talk. We have a lady in our midst, and it's important that we hear Tola give us her perspective on this. So Tola, this comes to you. Collaboration, they say, is the best competition. How do you think this can be made more possible between agencies and tech companies?
Okay, so I meant of all the information, knowledge, you definitely need the agency, technology, somebody who is in the technological space to direct your activities. Because today, if you notice, if you don't even, technology is activities, it enables us to better integrate the choices, the options that we have. And at the end of the day, today's consumer is looking into something made specifically for me. I want to be spoken to on whatever platform and feel special. I want to feel that I'm the only one that exists. So without the support of your agencies, your digital agencies, technology-led initiatives that they give you, how are you going to survive? So there's really, really no way you can do it other than to co-create and appreciate the support that they give to you. Because in all honesty, the insights that we get. Because impressions don't do it for me anymore. I'm looking at people who have, and I'll just give a couple of examples in the way we use influencers today. You have people who have million followers, but there's no engagement. At the end of the day, you are like, what exactly are we even doing here? And then the level of engagement you also get enables you to sift the meat, how your consumers relate with you. What are they saying about you? How do they like you? When do they consume you? You have that much level of data and insight that you can actually then look inwards and better strategize, look inwards and better reorient your activities such that the consumer's needs are really met. Secondly, you also need to be looking at opportunities where, I tell people all the time, I'm super excited at the digital advancement that I see happening all around me. And I tell people all the time, the principles of marketing hasn't fairly changed. In all honesty, it hasn't fairly changed. It's been enhanced. And I tell people all the time, whatever digital advancement you're bringing to me must do two things. It must inform and it must be able to convince. If he isn't doing those two things, then I might struggle a little bit. So with the level of advancement, new things coming up every day, does it inform and is it able to convince? Otherwise, why do I exist as a brand? This even goes so, it's like when you're employing a brand manager now, you're actually checking the digital skills. The JD has changed. And you're wondering, what skills does this brand manager even have? And HR say, no, but this is job description. Say, sorry, you need to pack that job description. This job description needs to change so much that when you're even recruiting a brand manager, you're looking at so many skills today. When my digital agency brings me campaigns and plans, and I'm struggling with a portion of the platform, one particular platform that is new, which one is this one? They go, Tola, you're not aware. I say, you know what, can you represent this in another 1 week? Then I call the digital agency and say, can I have a training on this platform? Because I'm not even as technologically advanced as here. I don't even know what it is. I'm not sure of the impact, But I tell them, can we move this campaign 1 week? This new platform you've introduced to me, can I just have a better understanding? Why? I want to be sure that it answers two things for me. Does it inform and is it able to convince? Those are the two things I look out for. So if I'm not co-creating with them, if I'm not getting the support, if I'm not leaning into them, where am I going to be? My brands will suffer. We begin to do the old conventional things. We're advertising on what do you call this? Straight media. No, we call it social media. But social media is so broad these days. Yeah, it's so broad, and then of course you have the challenges that come with it also. And I usually like to ask, so what challenges? The ad blockers. You have the option to opt out. What are the challenges that we face? And I'm very, very happy with the fact that my agencies are able to bring to me options and solutions to solve that problem. So I mean, I don't even have a choice other than to lean into them, you know. They are the support, they are the backbone that I get, they are the ones who make my wings flap. Yeah, because without them, where would the brands be? So it's very, very important that we're able to just have an open mind. I always welcome new things because, I mean, before I even get to know them, the agency has already shared with me or they've even mentioned something about it. So I think technology is something we need to embrace. It enables us to better scale personalization. That in itself is really key to me, scaling personalization. And it doesn't have to be, you know, one-on-one, but in fact, when we even talk of one-on-one, the cost to even do a one-on-one is so expensive these days. But media enables us to even spend less. You asked the question about spend. Today, I spend, you know, I know the creative directors and all of that say, oh, but Tola, we really need to be doing this. But I say, hey, but can't we also add this to it? I'm like, must you add everything together? I say, well, sometimes you've got to have a potpourri. So it affects the way we spend, definitely, because, I mean, you don't even need a big budget to do anything anymore. You don't need a big budget to do anything. You can actually start anywhere. And you know, the moment even ourselves, we are media ourselves, we call it thin media, they call it. The moment you choose to come online, you are media yourself. You've become media yourself. And then you can begin to decide what kind of content am I putting out there, you know? And most of all, do you inform? Do you convince? Because otherwise, what is content? You know, it talks about the fact that content is king. I believe you, it's culture. Because, I mean, if you're not engaging, if you're not creating that level of conviction, then what exactly is it? So, yes, I'm very, very happy to lean into my agencies. I believe that without technology, without them, the brands will not be able to do much. So it's very important that activities are co-created with the support that they give. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tola. So, and our next quick question goes to you, Charles Otudo. What are the key factors we must consider as professionals in the IMC industry, especially in this fast-paced digital age?
Hello. Okay. There's nothing new I'm going to say here. Starting from Franklin. Franklin has broken it down. No, let me start with the first speaker who destroyed the topic. There's nothing else to say beyond 5 key points. I'm going to borrow from the first speaker, Tolu. Then he has not spoken yet, but we know he's going to break it down. But there's so many, and there's so few at the same time. One, before I go to my points, let me tell you a very stupid story. During COVID, I made more money than I made in 5-10 years in my house. First of all, before the COVID started, I had signed on 11 clients. They had paid. I was traveling. Suddenly, I flew to Nigeria and I shut down Strat intentionally. I went to Kigali, spent 2 weeks with my son, who's in his final year now, and I flew to Lagos. I went to Abuja for a meeting. And I shut the brand down. I told everybody, go home. Yes, you know what they call in traditional industry? Your 13-month salary. Take. Go and rest. But guess what? We thought that COVID would last 2, 3, 4 months. It lasted almost over 1 year plus. You guys remember? Then, I think the microphone, this is the speaker is close to me. Okay, so here I am, seated. I'm spending money that I've earned, but I've not secured. Don't forget. And we're paying salaries. But something happened. Somebody called me and said, Charles, I want you to be on my... This guy doesn't call me normally. He's a good friend of mine. Doesn't call me. I have some friends that I put on a very high realm. They don't call. They will always send you a message first. Those are inner spiritual brothers. Charles, I need you to do something for me. I said, He now says, you must. I said, I'm not available till Monday because I had decided to go on a spiritual journey for 1 month. I said, I'm on the mountain. They understand. These are spiritual brothers. I'm on the mountain. After 1 month, after Monday, I'll be available. So they wait. Monday, the guy calls me and says, are you off the mountain? I said, yes. Okay. He now says, you must call my program. I said, I'm off everything, social media. I'm on. He said, no, you must do this one for me on this Monday. Now, let me pause a bit and talk to all of you in this hall. Nothing happens by mistake. What I've built is a dangerous brand called Artstrat. What we have done is intentional, and is intentionality. Everything we've done in this industry is based on principles. Do you believe that you can create impossible in your space? We're talking about technology. How did I understand technology? I did not know, because at that point I was stuck. Then I spent 3 months just going on Twitter every night. I have a confession to make. I have insomnia. I can't sleep at night. So, and I'm married and have 3 adult children, big boys and girls. There are four children. So when my wife sleeps, I'm on my phone trying to study, technology study. You can't separate technology from studying. So I study, and I understood how Twitter works in a different way. Algorithms work in a different way. Facebook works in a different way. Do not make the mistake to think that they work the same. So immediately I went on that platform. They said you cannot charge. I said no problem. Because a friend of my brother, and my brother, like, next 2 days later, he calls me and said, give me your account number. I said, no. It's free. He said, give me your account number. I was seated in my living room, and I made 1 million naira from just speaking. I didn't give a bill. Between then and now, I give, every time you call me to speak anywhere, only John. I didn't charge John for this one. I just, Munir, send out an invoice. But guess what? I spoke in the past 1 month, 1 year. I spoke on every platform you can imagine, including the platform. And it's a church, but I was paid to speak for the 8 hours before I went. And it's not 1 million. No. I don't cause embarrassment on this platform. I think I'm one of the highest paid speakers in this continent right now. I'm not bragging. I do not come to speak free of charge, but because of John. But you see, using technology, I want to go back to technology. Technology means that I went to Uyo to speak at an event, Uyo Fashion Week. They paid us, money was here. We went to speak everything business class, and we flew back in the same day. But guess what? They paid higher to speak for only 1 hour. Guess why? Technology. And the lady asked me a question. How would you post all this stuff free of charge that we can pay? We should be paying for your brain. I said, no, you don't understand. Every content you post on any platform tells people that you have a deeper well beyond what you have. I repeat, each time you post anything on social media, it's you telling them you know or you don't know. True or false? So we spend time researching. We have content that can last us next 1 year that can be posted. But at times we just pause. Now, going back to technology and branding, why are we where we are as an industry? I'm going to answer your 3 questions. Ozone. There's only one Ozone. No? His real name is Ozo Emeka.
Sorry, you got it wrong.
Okay. For the first time, I went to a big man's office, and he gave me to sit in his office, to sit and wait for him. In his office, I was scared, me and my PA. I said, now, wow, they are setting us up here. Are there cameras? But he's a fantastic man. I've been to Ozone Academy, and he said, it's the best platform on this continent. And we need to keep on supporting this kind of brands. Now, let me go to the questions you asked. How do you ensure that there's a connect? Am I right? Can you repeat the 3 questions again, please?
Yeah, the key factors we must consider as professionals in the IMC industry, especially in this fast-paced digital age.
1, professionalism, truth to power. We make the mistake of believing that we can create fast emptiness. We did an event over the weekend. It took us 3 months to convince the client. TerraWalk. Within 2 months, they were listed on the Google. They got $200,000. TerraWalk. We signed a contract with them 2 months ago. As at last week, on 6th of September, they were listed among the Google the Google Africa Tech that got 200 or something $1,000. They are listed, and we had an event on Saturday. It took them 2.5 months to even approve that event. Now, simple truth. He said something. Let me go back to Franklin. I want to embrace Molo. Franklin is not my friend. I've known this man from many years ago. He's a genius. When I talk about Franklin as a comment, I know he's a genius because he has been to 2 sessions with me, one-on-one, paid for, and he does not owe money. And guess one of the things I found about him? One, we have different gifts. Can you identify your own? Don't be all things to all men. He said it. Be your own person. You are unique. You are different. Stay in your lane. I have stayed in my lane. A lot of people do not know that I run a brand management company. I run a media buying company. I run a PR and events company. A lot of people don't know. They see me as a brand consultant. No. You will die of starvation if you stay in one lane. But be able to stay in one lane and diversify. Use other people to drive your business. Invest in talent. For 5 years, I ran Chasotro Brahmasa classes free. No kobo came from anywhere beyond sponsorships. Why did the bank give us money to do it on my birthday? Because they trusted in the brand called Charles Otino. Can you be trusted with 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, 25 million? Can you be trusted that you will not abscond? See, integrity is a critical aspect in this business. He asked about 3 questions. Let me tell you his story at Ozone. He started that O2 Academy free for 5 years. He didn't get any money. When he told me his story, I was almost crying, but I could not show him. I was touched. He started O2 Academy without money for 5 years in his house because he believed in himself and he wanted to prove something. That's integrity. But wait, let me ask you guys a question here. Do you believe yourself? If you believe yourself, you need only 3 things. I'm about to round up. The man is about to come and tell me to stop. 1, trust yourself. Be yourself. And then be integrous. The most important thing, when you speak to anybody, don't speak because you want to speak. Speak because you have a name to protect. So you go back to your speech and ask, am I living up to my speech? Now, the difference between integrity and anything else is, you say I will do this, but you don't do it. That means you're a liar, right? And the word goes around. The word keeps on going around. If you're not known for something, you will never be known for anything. Be true. The third part is be true to yourself. If your conscience does not guide you, nothing else will guide you. And then just trust God that everything will fall into place. Simple. And hold on, sirs. I have never given a bribe in this industry. This is the last point. I've worked for all the biggest brands, not paid a bribe. That's true to character. I can come back and say thank you on my own terms. That's character, right? The industry, why are we where we are now? Because some people will go and drop a brand new Mercedes-Benz, drop this. We've won every account. We did 14 banks back to back. EDs have called to say, come to, and it's based on strategy. If a strategy cannot win the business, we're not interested in doing it. And I think that the world can change and go to a point where, like what he said, he left after working for many years. Let's focus on these 3 key points: integrity, consistency, rigor, tenacity, and purpose. But most important, our character. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. That's powerful. That's powerful. Thank you so much. And I do appreciate some of the stories that you told. And they are stories that we hold very dear. Thank you so much. And a quick one to you. Maybe not you directly. A quick one to you, Chibike. You know, you are the tech guru here. And would like to get your perspective about technology, communication, brand and business values. Is technology communicating brand and business values and benefits enough?
Have we finished answering the question?
Yes.
I was thinking the question, is this mic good enough?
Yes, hold it closer.
Hello,
and
can you hear me?
After you, we have Pritesh, yeah? I hope I said your name right.
His name is Vitas.
Vitas. Okay, Vitas, okay. Your question is coming next in the next 2 minutes. Yeah. So Chibike, can we have you?
Okay. I seem to be from an emerging industry here, but it's an interesting one. I'm a person of few words, and I do more of numbers. And one thing you understand is technology is number-driven, use case-driven, and solution-based. We've looked at marketing industry. We've seen that historically, we've done things around creatives, we've done things around content, we've done things around brand building. But technology led by, let me say, millennials, and now going to be led by Gen Zs, has come and disrupted these age-long mysteries, age-long brick walls that some of our fathers have built legacy organizations on and use that to build industries. And what happens is somebody in their 20s is controlling billions and millions of followers, or controlling millions, the mindset of millions of people on the internet. And what does that happen? Technology appeals to a certain sense in the mind of everybody. I'll try not to be not to be technical, but technology in terms of marketing appeals to the sense of individual, and it uses some of the things that you love. Now, moving from the availability of the phone in your hand to the kind of content you want to see, and then the kind of things you want to see from your brand. And technology has moved that. Before, you probably need to see, you need to be influenced by an advert that is on TV, or you get influenced by an advert that is on billboard. But right now, you get influenced by somebody you trust talking about something on a platform you spend most of your time on. And behind that technology is some young people that have built a use case to say, we can get 1 million people in a virtual room talking about something, and then we can make each of them talk about individual things that will appeal to you, and you will connect to that person without even making a recourse to the owner of that technology. I'm sure a lot of us here have no reason to converse with Mark Zuckerberg or the owners of Twitter or the owners of TikTok, but we believe in the influencers. We believe on the platforms they have created, because it has brought in our role model or somebody we admire on that platform, and that person has created a content that will make us want to buy a brand. Now, do you see how the use case has been done? That somebody has created a platform, another person has come to create a content, another person has come to use that content to influence your thought process. There is a documentary I'll always want people to watch. It is called The Social Media. Now, it tells you how
Yes, how you doing?
these platforms influence your buying appetite, your choice of clothes, the words you use, and the things you do. And what do the brands want? Every business wants users. Now, how do you make somebody to buy? You need to speak the language that person needs to hear. And going through that, you see that marketing communication now comes to what I call social engineering. Let me give you an example. Online buying, okay. Online e-commerce has not been our thing. Let me say in the last 10 years was not our thing. But when they did social engineering to consistently put it in our face that you can buy a smartphone online, I'm sure many of us would have done our first shopping on the internet. And that's because technology has been used to rechange our mindset about how we shop, about how we think about things, about our perception about it. And they have used people, low-hanging fruit of people closer to us as influencers to make us jump into the technological drive. That's how it has influenced.
Okay. I'm so sorry I have to cut you short because I'm working with the directives of the organizers. I have just been informed that Vitas is online. Please, can we have him online now? Because he's running for a meeting. So, Vitas, how are you? Can we hear you?
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
how is it going over there?
Thanks for having me on. All good. I'm just thankful that the load shedding, which I'm sure some of you have heard, has stopped, so I can at least join all of you. So that's fantastic.
Awesome. It's good to have you, Vitas. And we're discussing tech explosion in the digital age. What are the imperatives for the IMC industry? So we'd like to have your views, and everybody is listening. Thank you.
Amazing. That's it. So one of the things I did is I did prepare a few slides, so hopefully you'll be able to see some of that, because I think what's useful is, as that comes up on screen very, very quickly, there we go. So, one of the things that we keep forgetting about is that technology has been part of our existence. So I studied archaeology. It's always really, really nice to give you a relatively simple but honest truth type of example in terms of technology. I mean, this was in Mesopotamia a few thousand years ago, before they had the wheel. And you see, it was commerce still carried on. They were still going out there and fishing and continuing the commerce. The only difference is, and if you look at the history of human society in this exact region, as soon as they invented the wheel, you tend to find that they were able to do exactly what they were doing, but do it at a much faster and a much more rapid rate and take a lot more people along with them. So I think that's one of the key things that I want to highlight, is that technology for our industry really should all be about how do we amplify and enhance the human experience. And if you look at marketing communications as an industry, we should be ensuring that, as new technological advancements arise, they should be used to amplify that human connection between brands and consumers. In the end of the day, this is what we all do as an industry. We're continuing just a connection between brands and consumers. Why should the technology interrupt that? So I want to give you just, from my side, just 5 quick, simple think points, because we have a short period of time. So just some things to get us to start thinking. And the first think point is at the work and the campaigns that are being generated. It really is being done by a lot of brands in a way that's not very strategic, sadly. My competitors may be in its space, but really what you're doing is then you're just creating more distractions in the lives of your consumers. So this is my key think point, is that as we create, as we do things, you as a brand do not need to be everywhere. You as a brand do not need to create more digital drama in the lives of your customers who are out there as well. So always think, is the work that you're doing really focusing on the benefit, which is the benefit of the products and services that you sell, or is it being overwhelmed at this stage? In terms of think point number 2, is your technology meeting consumers on their terms? As technology moves, we live in a world of buzzwords. Obviously, one of the things right now is everyone's speaking about the metaverse. I see every major brand globally going, we've now built our own store and our own presence in the metaverse. How many of us who are sitting here today have actually spent any time in the metaverse today, or yesterday, or in the last week, or in the last month? And you're going to see it's practically no one. Most would be using it. So why is it all of these brands are rushing into these spaces as well? Because it's a buzz, it's a gimmick at this point. So while eventually it will be important for brands to be in different spaces and to stretch their brand into where technology is going, you don't need to do it right now. You need to be able to ensure that the technology and the digital tools that we have in front of us are actually being used to meet the consumers on their own terms in the spaces that are relevant to our consumers. Third point out of the 5 that I have is that are we winning at the second moment of truth? And so there are 2 moments of truth in this consumer journey that we normally have. That first moment when you're able to convince a consumer to actually try your product and service. And let's be honest, the digital tools that we have at our disposal are fantastic. They're really, really great at convincing consumers to spend money with us. But what we should not be forgetting is as we go through that process, are we ensuring that we put in the same amount of effort into the products and services we're creating? I know a number of different financial institutions, especially, who are creating these digital first products and going, these are fantastic products. But when the consumer then buys and downloads that app or buys into the proposition, it fails and they have a really, really horrible experience. You should think about the entire journey. So it's not just about using the digital tools to attract consumers, not just using digital as a gimmick that we have to be able to say that it's digitally integrated into the products and services that we offer, but ensuring that when the consumer eventually says, yes, I trust you as a brand, and I'm willing to actually spend my time, effort, and money with you, that they're winning at that second moment of truth is when they actually try and utilize your product. And then I think point number 4 is that, are you creating a digital campaign or a digital experience? And I know sometimes for a lot of people, they go, isn't it the same thing? It's not. Because what happens is, we're in a space right now where everyone's focused on the campaign, and they think, these are the campaigns, these are the times of the years that I need to launch it, and I need to make sure that on a calendarized basis, I'm going to go out and release these campaigns. In truth, the same consumer that you're targeting on these various digital platforms does not care about your campaign. They do not care what your focus is in quarter 1 or quarter 2. They care about what is the experience I'm going to have, excuse me, as I lose my voice, what is the experience that I'm going to have on these digital platforms? And as I interact with the brands on these various digital platforms, is it going to give me a rewarding experience? So what we should be focusing on is that digital experience for the consumer. And then we integrate our key brand messaging into that experience. If we focus purely on campaigns, if we focus on us as brands, as creatives, if we focus on us and we go, this is what's right for us, the consumer's going to ignore us. They've done that. We've seen them. They've done this on lots of other platforms, be it in print, be it on television. That's when people used to, on linear television, used to wake up back in the day to go make a coffee when the ads came on. The same thing is happening. And I hope I'm still good on time here, is that, are you comfortable with not having a first mover advantage? Every marketing book out there, as you go for your MBAs and different universities and for different courses, they all tell you that it's great to have a first mover advantage. And that's one of the best things to actually have as a brand. But in truth, in the digital space, that first mover advantage is relatively slim because technology ages quickly and you're able to catch up really quickly. But in order to be first, you need to spend a lot of money. And what I'm seeing with a lot of brands right now is, again, this ability to want to spend to be the first one in different spaces, whether it's the metaverse, whether it's trying to be on a new social media platform. Lots of brands are going, I want to be there first. And again, when you're trying to be the first mover advantage, you are taking resources away, your limited resources in terms of cash, human resources, taking it out of the ecosystem and plugging it into a space where you're not really getting much value. I think what we need to learn as marketers, as people in the brand communication industry is to live with that discomfort of not being the first one to move into a space, especially in the digital spaces. They keep changing, they keep evolving. Some of the spaces may not be around later, but we want to move into it. So it's a very self-aware type question, but you have to ask yourself if you're comfortable with not having that first mover advantage, but being prepared to scale and escalate your brand efforts as the critical mass grows for your brand out there. So again, everything I've actually said is based on one thing. It's a customer centricity in terms of our digital campaign. Right now, there's a lot of brands who focus on how can I ensure I can have as many campaigns targeting as many people as possible. What we should be focused on is that the digital world really is a journey for the consumer. The consumer is going through so many different experiences. What we should be focusing on is as that consumer goes through his multiple experiences, as they touch so many different points on this digital world, are we there to meet them with a point of authenticity in a way that builds a relationship that ensures that ultimately we're growing our brand equity and we're growing our brand value and volume through the journeys that we're actually going through. So that's just the few quick points that I wanted to share from my side. And yes, so I'll hand it over.
Thank you so much, Pritesh. And I would like to have questions for him from the audience, please. I said that earlier that we should be noting things down so we can have your questions as quickly as possible. Anybody from the audience, please?
Yeah, excuse my blinds.
Say that again.
I said, excuse my blinds, which is doing some really interesting art direction on me right now. So those are my blinds in the sun as it sets.
By the way, Pritesh is the CEO of Loris, the biggest advertising festival, Middle East and Africa. Yeah, and he is speaking from SA. So please, can we have your questions? Okay. While you're drafting your questions, I would like to have a question for you, Pritesh. Now, millennials drive the change towards new communication technologies. How best could brands prioritize them without losing the older generation? That's to you, sir. Can we have him back online?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
I can hear. Yeah, you know, one of the things I'm finding is that, again, and this is generally so, yes, we may see that millennials are leading it, but in truth, one of the challenges that we have is that as soon as we go into an ageist type of definition of the technological user, we have challenges. What we've got to find is, there was a time I remember where WhatsApp was a platform where people went, nope, older people are not using it. Yet, right now, everyone's using it. There was a time when people went, Facebook was for younger people. Today, lots of people are going, the younger generation are going, we don't want to be on Facebook because our parents are on it, our grandparents are on it. Truly what we should be doing is we should be thinking about how we take all of our consumers on this journey with us as well. And yes, while millennials may be leading this and are the early adopters, it does not mean that as it matures that they're going to be stuck on it. So my advice as I chat to a number of brands across the continent, in fact, across Africa and the Middle East, is the strategy should be based on a multi-pronged strategy. How do you get your early adopters on and have your early adopters pull a more mature market onto it? And how do you actually reduce the barriers as a brand to ensure that your mature market is comfortable enough to use the platforms that you're creating? And because of the technological and digital world that we're living right now, I think that mature audience is going to surprise you in terms of the adoption of the digital products and services that you create.
And if I may ask, when the adoption is not happening with the matured audience, what should marketing communication experts do in a situation, because you are telling us from, prediction, and what if it doesn't happen? What should experts do to still have these people and not alienate them?
Yeah, I think you really have two options. One is either have a tiered strategy that says, I completely understand that this market is not going to adopt this kind of technology. And because they have that, we still, let's not forget, we shouldn't put all our eggs in the digital basket. We're here speaking about this, but you still have the so-called traditional media. If you have an audience that is where digital is not going to resonate with them, you need a multi-pronged approach that ensures that you're still using print, you're still using radio, you're still using television as part of your strategy. Remember, in the end of the day, we should not be focusing on purely a digital strategy. We should be focusing on, as I said, a customer-centric strategy. How do we ensure that we as a brand can meet our customers where they are? And if our customers are in a space where they're not comfortable to come to where the brand wants to be, if you want their business, then what you need to do is go to where they are. And unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. You can't drag everyone along on the same journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Pritesh. Please, a round of applause to Pritesh. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. Have a nice day, sir.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You too.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Great. Okay, so we will be rounding off. I'm just going to take 2 questions from the audience, and we'll call it a day. While we wait for the questions, please take down this phone number. If you're interested in getting the presentation documents, please send your email address to this number via WhatsApp. The number is 080 230 39359. I repeat, 080 230 39359. Send your email to that number via WhatsApp. Thank you. Can I have the questions? Okay, please give the mic to him. Can I have that? Please, can I have it? Give him the mic. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. My name is Babatunde Ajay. I'm a professor in FUTA, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Forestry.
Let's appreciate this prof. Prof came all the way to gain information. Powerful.
Yes, to gain information and to learn. My area is Forestry and Bioresources Technology. I've been coming to this program for a few years now, but I don't come for the main session because they talk about brand. I say, what is brand? Is there anything new in the word brand? So because of that, I've just breezed in for the evening program. The next day, I'm off. But today, it's like I'm going to take a new degree in branding, which whether you give me or you don't give me already, and that's what I think I am now. Because I asked this sister, what is brand? Does it mean I'm a brand? And he said, yes, you are a brand. Then what makes me to be a recognized brand is the kind of ingredient that are attached to me will determine the status of what I'm going to be, whether it's going to be a rejected brand or acceptable brand and all that. Now, the question I want to ask, if you people are so versatile in this kind of program, why is it that you have no connection with the university in Nigeria? Because when you look at what some of these professors have produced, dead or alive, if you can brand one of them, that will bring a lot of weight to this nation. For example, you talk about technology. A technology is just a way of improving on existing thing. For example, if you want to pick a meat from your mouth, between your teeth, you use hand. Then secondly, you find out that you can use a stick or broom to remove that thing easily. And then thereafter, you now think, why do I need to use broom? Why do I make a stick from wood? And then use wood, and then you can begin to think of what else that you can do to remove that meat. And that's what the technology you are talking about here. But I found out such idea is not existing between the university and you people. You are the people who can make what we do in the university, bring it to the limelight. But I see you promoting, branding the politicians more than all of us in the university that we are developing something. For example, if I ask you now, do you believe we can make a product, housing product, from groundnut shell? And I think many of you will say, what is groundnut shell to start with? But I've developed products from granite shell that you can use as a ceiling board. I've developed products from yam stem that you can use as a ceiling board. I have developed products from maize stalk or sugarcane material that you can use as a ceiling board. But now the problem is nobody is branding it. We just have that research output inside our room and inside our laboratory. It will be good for the interest of all of us that you should put your searchlight in the university.
Thank you, sir.
Just ask, what are those things that you think we have done? I don't know how you would do it because I'm not as versatile as all of you here in that area. Mine is just to lock myself inside the laboratory and start searching and searching and searching. What can you do to bring us up?
Thank you, Prof. Prof, we've taken note of your request, and it is just profound. Trust me, I don't know where to, and how to come in, but we've heard what you said, and it's been taken in. Yes. Does anybody want to say anything to Prof? Okay. Yes. Give him the mic.
Professor, on behalf of my industry, I want to say we apologize. This industry is not about, we're not an NGO industry. Now, if ASU can be on strike for how many months now, and we are going through what we're going through, and we have a dysfunctional system that does not. Let me give you a breakdown. 20 years ago, I branded African Movie Academy Awards, AMA. 10 years after, they came back with rebranded them. This hall, where I'm seated, Eventful came 20 years ago, 21 years ago, we did Eventful rebranding. They managed this whole event place. After 20 years, they still came back. But there's one reason why, because it's private sector. Everything that government touches dies. I'm not here to hit anybody, but I'm saying this because you are in a sector that does not even recognize itself. I went to University of Jos. From there, I went to Harvard. I've gone to Wits Business School in South Africa. Things are run differently. Education takes 90% of the budget in developed economies. Why are we, sir, let me give you a case study. My last son is in African Leadership University in Rwanda. I paid dollars for him to go to school. He's graduating in December. He paid his way to come back to Nigeria to come and visit his father and his mother. 5 months ago. Now guess what? My last daughter, my first daughter, she's still at home because of ASU strike. Economics, University of Lagos. Her youngest brother is graduating ahead of her. Why? And ASU and government are in court. Sorry, I'm not deviating. The challenge is this, simple. We will try our best to engage you, and if possible, I'll take it upon myself personally, to see how I personally would look at your project and see how we can promote it.
Thank you, Charles.
And no, let me know. Hold on. And I make that commitment in no small faith.
Okay.
Munir, take professor's numbers. I will personally work with you directly, and I will make sure that the nation, and I will bring. No, hold on. No, I will drag Ozone, and I will drag Mr. John Ajayi to this with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Awesome.
Okay.
She wants to say something from Brand point of view.
So, sir, thank you very much, Mr. Charles. It's really nice to hear that. It's very reassuring, and I'm sure that, sir, you'll be leaving here very pleased and happy. I'm glad you attended the first test. But from the brand point of view, I just want you to know that there are very different levels of engagements happening in the university. So I'll be talking from the brand point, and it's not because we're oblivious of the university of what is happening in the university. Consumers are also in the university, and I'm sure that there are so many levels of engagement, from brand experientials to sampling to activations happening on the campus where you operate every single day from many brands in Nigeria. Why? Because we cannot separate that age band from anything that we do. That age band that sits in the university is so important to us. They are the people who become loyal to our brand over the time. And what do? We catch them young. We try and make them experience the brand. We get feedback from them. A lot of the innovations that we see in our brand today happens from that age band. So, sir, you might not have been in direct contact with the brands, but please be rest assured that there's a lot of activities, a lot of executions, a lot of insights have been mined from the students in that university that you sit in and across all other universities in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Prof, I must appreciate you, first of all, for the fact that most of us here are product of the university or higher institution in any way. So you will see us here as part of the products you have produced. Then secondly is the fact that there's what I would call post-harvest loss. The university is the producer of talents. Those talents go into the society, and the society is supposed to optimize those talents to produce what the society is. But what we have is a loss or a disjoint between where the talents are produced and what the talent actually do. Now, everybody that leaves the university doesn't even want to go back to the university to turn back anything. You probably just want to get there, get your certificate, and zoom off. I have a friend. He's a multi-billionaire in dollar, and he's doing philanthropy. And one of the things he told me was he makes, probably he has one product in 4 years. And what does he do? He goes to the university, not in Nigeria though, goes to the university, gets a prototype, now gives it to some professors and say, use this and do your experiment on drug discovery. They could work on 10 products, probably only one will work. But he is funding that research for the next 10, 20 years. Funding the department, funding everybody that is there, but he's just looking for one discovery. Now, when that discovery is made, they probably take the next 3 years, 4 years to do the commercial viability. And after that, it is sold to pharmaceutical companies who probably make $20 to $40 billion out of that, and he has royalty on that. Now, you will see that there's a value chain. The research that is done by the university, which success rate is probably 10%, and then the others are gone. Then the commercial viability of that thing, which the pharmaceutical industries in billions of dollars fund that system. Now, we have a disjoint in that. You talked about granite shells being a component of building material. Now, if we had a system that properly aligns production, what I mean intellectual production, to utilization and commercialization, those things, if they have been proven to be commercially viable, can become part of the roofing sheets we have today. So, just like Mr. Charles said, I don't like criticizing government. I don't want to go into that because it's not safe to even talk about government in Nigeria. Especially if you're a businessman, don't talk about government. Yeah. if you need licensing as well. So, but when there's a connect between them, that's when you see results. Then thirdly is the fact that the university is a producer of talent. I work in a system where our biggest asset is Gen Zs. And one of the speakers said that a Gen Z will come to you when you finish negotiating his salary, come to you and tell you that, sir, I want to work 2 days from home. Now, these are products of the universities. They have been on what the university is teaching. I'm going to run shortly. In my industry, I tell my team, there is none of you here that is practicing what you are taught in school. Because you come out, I hire you based on intelligence, on the fact that I can teach you and make you to be quite adventurous and do what we want. All these technological innovations, even in the marketing space, in the advertising space, I think things will be better off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me say something quickly.
Promise me it's going to be 30 seconds.
Probably shorter.
Thank you.
Yes. So, it's not even okay. So, what you've spoken about is, Professor. I mean, thank you. What you've spoken about is where that thin line between, because the question we have here is tech, not really digital, but tech. So it goes back to what you are saying, and the sad part of it is just this country, and I'll tell you why. If you watch all of the case studies from Cannes, so when Tolu spoke, I met her in Cannes this year, and if you watch all of the case studies, the agency gets the award, but the technology, the innovation usually is not the agency's innovation. What agencies do is that I have a bright idea, I have a campaign I want to do, but I also want to probably do good or stun or create a new case value. The challenge, where the problem is, where the connect misses, is that there's no database of technology and knowledge from universities that exist, that agencies can go and say, okay, I want to create this thing and this would help me do it. So I just find the university and I come and meet the university. In other countries, what happens is, when you create something like that, the university holds the patent because you created it while you work for the university. But then you earn a particular percentage of that patent. So when we go to the client and we say, hey, we want to create a new product or want to create packaging for your product.
Ralph, your time is up.
Okay, sorry, just let me land it. Want to create packaging for your product. Then we look at your innovation that you're using for roofing sheets, and we find out that innovation can be used for packaging for the product. Then we have a discussion. And then the client then puts it into their product. He's taking my 5 seconds. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And please, the panelists, no. I got from the graveyard, sorry, that there's something for no. We have something for. Okay, from one of our sponsors, McVitie's. They pay the bills. McVitie's. It's important to really spell it out.
Thank you.
So, how do you do the presentation? I think this is just okay. So, we're done. Okay, so thank you, panelists. Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for our panelists.
Don't say that. Shut your trap. I'm sipping wine in a robe. I look too good to be alone. My house clean, my pool warm. Just shake smooth like a newborn. We should be dancing, romancing in the east wing and the west wing of this mansion. What's happening? I ain't playing no games. Every word that I say is coming straight from the heart. So if you're trying to lay in these arms, I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door. Thank you so much, sir. Girl. I'ma leave the door open. gon' live forever, forever. We gon' live forever. Like that she my brother. We gon' live forever. Money Island to the mainland, pulling up in the Beamer. Yeah, 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 yeah. We gon' live forever. We gon' live forever. Where I move confusing, bad men want to use me. Tell all the girls come to my side, keep it amusing. Tired of waiting, keeping it moving. Minds I'm screwing. In and out become alive. Baby make me feel alright. I just want you for the night. Girl, I need you by my side. You be my life. Fuck what they talking about. We going up. Yeah, yeah. Like that she my brother. We gon' live forever. Money Island to the mainland, pulling up in the Beamer.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful day having a group of very intelligent audience here today. On behalf of Marketing Edge Group, I say thank you. And I believe that this is just the beginning of this conversation. We do have quarterly summit where we'll continue the conversation. And I believe that with this and with so much creativity and innovation going on in the industry, we will continue to have conversations that will lead to further development. Thank you.
Get your soul, just tell him ain't